Greetings, comrades. Welcome to All Power to the People podcast on Grown Folks Talking, Express Yourself Internet Radio via the Huddle Team app. We meet every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We discuss local, national, and global events that impact the material conditions of the people and provide viable solutions. We are here to find those tired of the way their lives are socially constructed. As Panthers, we use dialectic materialism. As Dr. Huey P. Newton stated, power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner. From combating the housing crisis to police patrols, we are the vanguard in place to serve our communities. The purpose of this program is to highlight contradictions in the electoral process, which Western culture calls politics. Politics is the struggle for resources. Participating in America's electoral process has only taken resources from the people and handed it to the oligarchs and the professional managerial class that serve them by maintaining the status quo through coercion. We know that power lies with the people, and it is our duty to organize and educate the community so that they can fight for their own liberation. So please, join us every Sunday at 12 p.m. You can join by downloading the Huddle Team app, join online, or call in. The app and joining online is free, but if you call in, standard messaging rates may apply. Links to the show will be provided in the caption. This is General Secretary Patience of the new Afrikan Black Panther Party, NAB PP North. All power to the people.
Let me see.
A party that gardens together stays together. This is the People's Garden. We are setting up. From help of our good friend, Sergio. It's part of the United Panther Movement. The United Panther Movement are those who believe in our 10-point program, which is basically providing services to the community. Free breakfast program, free food program, free health clinic, pig patrols, and we have programs for the kids, after school programs, summer camps. We do all of this because we understand the importance and the needs of the people. So we're planning the community garden. This is the garden for the people. But we need help. We need help from you guys. So join the United Panther Movement. To learn more, contact General Secretary Patience at 862-283-9917 or email patiencerow@yahoo.com. That is in PATHEROW@yahoo.com. To help support the work we do, please send donations to Cash App, $ I live for the people, or Venmo /Zelle at phone number 862-283-9917. This is General Secretary Patience of the New African Black Panther Party, NAB PP North. All power to the people.
All power to the people. All power to the people. It's not 12 o'clock yet. A few more seconds before 12. So I'll wait a few more seconds. Hope everybody's doing good, man. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Look, last week we had some technical difficulties. Everybody could hear me? General Secretary, you could hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you. But yeah, last week we had some technical difficulties. So the show that we had prepared for last week, we're going to do that show this week. It kind of throws us off a little bit. For the next 2 weeks, it's going to throw us off a little bit because we like everything that we talk about to be current. It's crazy because while reading the book or listening to the book as we do, everything that he's saying is current, is right now. Everything that Dr. Woodson is saying is going on right now in real time. It's just now we're going to have to catch up with real-time event to connect it with what he's talking about. Because this week we're going back to last week. It's 12 o'clock. We're going back to last week where we first heard what Trump was going to do, who he's going to put in his cabinet, the people that he was going to be putting up there to be nominated to be the head of different positions in the government, and we're going to discuss that. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that today. Well, first we're going to do what we always do. We go back and study first. I mean, the first task for any revolutionary is to educate themselves. And without education, we don't even know who our enemy is or who we're even fighting against. But we've been reading Carter G. Wilson, Miseducation of a Negro. What week we on? What's this, week 12? Yeah, we in week 12. I mean, and it's deep. It's deep when you go back and you actually read what this luminary said, the people that we were always told from our when we're kids, when we're young, like Black History Month, they bring this person up, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. They really don't tell you about their philosophies. They really don't tell you about who they were, who they're fighting against. Like, you really don't understand what their purpose was. You just know, just remember Martin Luther King, he fought for civil rights. That's it. That's all you really, but what is civil rights? But getting a chance to go back and read people like Carter G. Woodson and listen to them. Like, it's like they're right here with us, talking to us. And you could see how what they were going through back then, 100 years ago, how it translates to now. And in some cases, nothing has really changed. But I'm gonna start the video right here because we have a lot to talk about. Because after I do my presentation, after I talk, the General Secretary is gonna come on because she has some information that she wanna give you guys too.
Chapter 12, Hirelings in the Places of Public Servants. If the highly educated Negroes have not learned better the simple lessons of life, one cannot expect the laboring classes to conduct themselves differently. In the large number of cases, the employers of Negroes in common layer, in which most of them are now engaged, assert that there is no hope for advancement of Negroes in their employ because Negroes will not work under foremen of their own color. In other words, the average Negro has not yet developed to the point that one is willing to take orders from another of his own race.
All right, look, my bad, but I got to bring this back. I'm going to bring it back to the beginning because we have to remember this is 100 years ago. He's talking about the progression of black people after slavery in America, our progression in the work field, how we learn how to maintain ourselves to survive in this world. I'm going to bring it back. And if you have a pen, you should take notes because I do want to have a conversation. If you hear something that you want to talk about, by all means, put your hand up. The General Secretary should see you and put you on. But I want to go back to what he said from the beginning. Pay attention to what he says at the beginning.
In the places of public servants. Hirelings in the places of public servant.
Hirelings in the places of public servant. What are hirelings? What does he mean by that? Think about that for a second. What does he mean? What does he mean by that? I mean, in place of public servant. Because the conversation we're having, everything we're talking about, this is political education. I mean, this is political education. And this is not, hey, look, I'm not looking for no subs. I'm not telling you to click on nothing, to share, to like, to none. I'm not telling you none of that. Because this space is to find people that are really serious about changing the conditions in our community. That's what we're here to do, and we're here to study. And this is chapter 12. And Carter G. Woodson started it off with hirelings in position of highest of public service. Who is he talking about? Who are these people that he's talking about? And what about them?
If the highly educated Negroes have not learned better the simple lessons of life, one cannot expect the laboring classes to conduct themselves differently. In the large number of cases, the employers of Negroes in common layer, in which most of them are now engaged, assert that there is no hope for advancement of Negroes in their employ because Negroes will not work under foremen of their own color. In other words, the average Negro has not yet developed to the point that one is willing to take orders from another of his own race. While it is true that such an answer is often given as a mere excuse for not placing Negroes in responsible positions when it can be done without any particular trouble, the investigation among Negroes themselves reveals numerous facts to prove that there is more truth than falsehood in this statement. Hundreds of employees of African blood frankly say they will not work under a Negro. One is afraid that the other may prosper.
All right, so what is he talking about right now? He's talking about right after slavery, when black people started working, they're going into the they're trying to get into the workforce, and this is what 18. I'm talking about 1890s, 1910, 1905. I mean, right, like a couple of years, about a decade and a half, slavery, and how black people could not work under another black person. He's going to go on to explain why black people had these issues. But this is not an opinion where he's just coming up with an opinion where, like, black people don't like working for other black people. No, it was studies. And it's explaining to you how they did the studies, how they got the hundreds of people together and they study those people and they get information from them, and the people tell them, like, they don't want to work under a black person. They don't. All the information that he's giving you, it's a study. It's not his own opinion. I mean, 'cause, like, there's a difference between doing a study, going out, like, it's a company that has about 10,000 people working there. So you get like 1,000 of them, and you pull 1,000 of them. You see, that's supposed to give you an indication of how the people there think. You don't have to pull every single person, and that's what he's telling you. That's what he's explaining to you. How we know how black people felt in this time, in that epoch when he was alive. He had to test people. He had to go out amongst the people and do tests and get answers, not just make up his own ideas or let his opinions be the science that spoke for whatever he was thinking in his mind, because that's what people tend to do.
More than he does and be recognized accordingly. Some of these instances are interesting. A head of one of the government departments in which Negro women are employed to do unskilled labor reports that he placed in charge of the group of these workers an intelligent colored woman who seemed to have all of the necessary qualifications which he had found in other women thus employed. Those working under her, however, refused to obey instructions, kept the place in turmoil, and soon destroyed the morale of the whole force. As soon as he placed a white woman in charge, however, order was reestablished on the premises and everything moved along smoothly. Another employer conducting a wholesale business placed a Negro foreman in charge of others of his race to function as one of the important departments of the establishment. The Negroes working under him, who had formerly taken orders without question from the white foreman, soon undertook to take liberties with the promoted Negro and to ignore his orders. Knowing that the Negro foreman was well qualified, however, and being personally interested in him, the employer, instead of doing what so many others under such circumstances had done, dismissed those who refused to cooperate and supplied the vacancies with others until an efficient working force could thus be obtained. Only a few employers, however, have had such patience and have manifested such interest in the advancement of the Negro. As a rule, they merely dispose of Negro foremen with the excuse that one Negro will not take orders from another. This refusal of Negroes to take orders from one another is due largely to the fact that slaveholders taught their bondmen that they were as good as or better than any others and, therefore, should not be subjected to any member of their race. they were to be subordinated to someone, it should be to the white man of superior culture and social position. This keeps the whole race on a lower level, restricted to the atmosphere of trifles which do not concern their traducers. The greater things of life, which can be obtained only by wise leadership, then, they have no way to accomplish. The strong have always used this as a means of dealing with so-called weaker races of the world. The Caucasian arrays the one against the other so that they may never combine their forces and thus deprive their so-called superiors of control over them, which they could easily do if organized. One white man was able to maintain himself on a plantation where there were 30 or 40 slaves because the Negroes were miseducated in such a way as to keep them divided into distinct factions. In petty strife, their power would be lost in the process of attrition. Today, we find the same thing in Africa, where this end is reached by embittering one tribe against another. And it worked the same way in India until recently, when it began to break down under the masterful leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. The Negroes of the United States have followed leadership slavishly, but sometimes, unfortunately, that of those leaders who are selected for them by the traducers of the race. The enemies of the race, for example, will find a Negro willing to do certain things they desire to have accomplished, and will finance him and give him sufficient publicity to get before the world for the few favors which he may dispense among his followers as a result of his influence and economic position, will bring him the adequate number of Negroes for the constituency which he desires. Negroes, however, sometimes choose their own leaders, but unfortunately, they're too often of the wrong kind. Negroes do not readily follow persons with constructive programs. Almost any sort of exciting appeal or trivial matter presented to them may receive immediate attention and, temporarily at least, liberal support. When the bubble
I'm trying to think how to put it into words, to put what I'm thinking into words. No, because you see it today. Like, remember, we're talking about 100 years ago, and he's saying, black people, we don't pick our leaders. Our leaders are picked for us. And most of the time, when we do get to pick our leaders, we make the wrong choice because we listen to things that will really do nothing to change our material condition, but they just capture our imagination at that time. What does he mean by that? How can I give an example of that?
I mean, Megan Stallion twerking on the campaign stage for Kamala.
Yeah.
Brought to represent, that's what black people,
yeah.
celebrities and all them tricksters and clowns. Those are leaders.
No, but them on their twerking and stuff, I understand that. But I'm saying, like, what he's saying right here in this part is like, he said they give you like things for you to emotionally get involved with, but they're not really substantive. Like, they can't really do nothing to change. The General Secretary said Black Lives Matter, but mental health. When you come out, you hear people like Charlemagne, you hear all these different people, you hear politicians, celebrities, they'll keep talking about mental health. Yeah, why people got mental health issues? Because they don't have a place to stay. They can't afford to eat. If you're homeless, you can't afford to eat. You can't think about your future. You have no security. It is going to have mental issues. They're going to have mental issues. You're not going to be well put together. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to lose your mind. You're going to give up. Yeah, mental health. But if and we get so emotional, because like we know, because it's like people really not ignorant. They're really not stupid. They know we have mental health issues. They know people in their family have mental health issues. So when the celebrity or one of these people that they platform, they give the platform to be able to reach people. He's going to talk about that in the chapter 2. That our oppressors, the people that exploit us. Like, it's not going to be a fake name. I'm not going to give you a fake name. Like, I'm going to just say the people. Yo, the capitalists, the imperialists. Those are the people that we're talking about. Who are the capitalists? Who are the imperialists? Who are the 1%? These are the people that are controlling our communities. They don't have to be inside the communities. And that's what Carter G. Woodson is telling you in the 1920s and 1910. He's telling you this is what they're doing. And we must find strategies to be able to fight back, to be able to protect our communities. In 1920, what do our politicians say? What do people say that come in our community and say they're helping us? They tell us to go support a party, go support this person, go vote for this person. They don't give you nothing, nothing concrete. There's nothing concrete. There's no building of nothing. And that's what he's telling you. These people just come to our emotion. They talk about things like abortion rights. Yeah, we all know it should be abortion rights. But who is stopping it from people having abortions, from people controlling their lives? It's not the people on the ground suffering. We don't need to hear that. You need to go to the people that control all these things to deal with them. But they don't do that. They come to us and tell us, you'll support abortion rights. All right, we supported abortion rights. The Democrats had all levels of power when they got in, except for the Supreme Court, because they did it to themselves when Obama was in office, when he was supposed to put people in, but he didn't put them in. So now they come into office. Biden came into office. They could have they could have wrote that into law. They could have did what they had to do. They didn't. So now it's time to run for election again. You're going to people telling them abortion right. You're going to their emotion, to their feelings. You're not giving them nothing. And after a while, we live in a different world. I don't want to keep talking because I want to put the video back on. Let's get done with this chapter so we can move on. But we live in a different world now. Like in the 1930s, 1920s, 1800s, you could lie to people. There was no social media. People didn't have the ability to look on the video and see Obama drinking from a cup of water, talking about the water in Flint is clean, and it's 2024, and the water's still dirty. You didn't have videos like that to look at. Now you can look at all this stuff, and you can see it in real time, and you're like, these people lying. The old ways of scamming people, of getting over, tricking people, you can't do that no more. And that's why they're coming after independent media. They're coming after social media, because social media, we have the ability to communicate. Just imagine during slavery time. You were a slave on the plantation, and you got a phone, you got Facebook, and you could hit your mans and them in Nigeria like, hey, yo, they got me on the plantation. Look at this shit. This nigga just whipped me. Look what they doing. Look how they got this man tied to one horse and another horse, and look how they're dragging him. Hey, yo, this is where we at. This is our GPS. This is our location. Yo, how many people, how many family members would have swam across the ocean to come and get them? It's not the same world no more. And these imperialists have to find a different ways to adapt to be able to keep brainwashing people, keeping people ignorant. And that's what they're going through. They're having that battle right now. They're going through their own issues. But what are we doing in our communities? What are we doing to be able to be ready? Where are the schools we are building? We're still sending our kids to their schools. I'm going to keep talking forever. Let me put it back on, because he's going to talk about the same thing I'm talking about.
Lapses, of course, these same followers will begin to decry Negro leadership and call these misrepresentatives of the group rascals and scoundrels. Inasmuch as they have failed to exercise foresight, however, those who have deceived them should not be blamed so much as those who have liberally supported these impostors. Yet, the fault here is not inherently in the Negro, but in what he has been taught. The Negro's point of view, therefore, must be changed before they can construct a program which will bring them out of the wilderness. For example, no good can be expected from one of our teachers who said that she had to give up her class in Sunday school to accept an extra job of waiting on tables at the hour because she had bought a $2,400 coat and her husband had purchased an expensive car. Such a teacher has no message for the Negro child. Her example would tend to drag the youth downward, and the very thought of having such a person in the schoolroom is most depressing.
See, can't even go too far. Look at the messages he's dropping. He's spitting right now. Like, I'm telling you, like, when I be driving, I listen to people like this. I listen to different people in the car, and this is stuff that I get in my mind. I don't listen to music. This is deep what he's talking about. Since we were little, we was growing up, they told us, hurry up, get an education and move out the hood and go to the suburb, get you a nice car, get you a fence. He's saying right here, Carter G. Woodson is saying, any teacher, anybody that's saying they're going to leave their responsibility of teaching our people, teaching the community, because they need to go get an extra job, because they want to go get a fancy house, get a nice car, pay for a nice school, they shouldn't be teaching in our community. If you put money, resources, things like that in front of the duty of teaching our people, our children, you shouldn't be teaching. You shouldn't be a teacher. You see, but we don't think like that no more. There's no ethics. Everybody now is for themselves. Go get that money by any means necessary, whatever. Get that money or die trying. So everybody just go out, all they care about is money. Nobody want to serve the people. In serving the people, they got to be making money from it. They got to have a non-profit that's kicking money back that they're using to pay their bills, and then they come out and then they paint the street Black Lives Matter, and then like, man, just all kind of goofy stuff that have nothing to do with nothing. I'm gonna go back to it. We're gonna get through this chapter.
We must feel equally discouraged when we see a minister driving up to his church on Sunday morning in a Cadillac.
Minister.
He does not come to feed the multitude spiritually. He comes to fleece the flock. The appeal he makes is usually emotional. While the people are feeling happy, the expensive machine is granted and the prolonged vacation to use it is easily financed. Thus, the thoughtless drift backward towards slavery. When you see a physician drive to one's door in his Pierce Arrow, you cannot get the impression he has come to treat the patient for a complaint. He has come to treat him for $1. Such physicians, as a rule, know less and less medicine as the years go by, although they make much money by learning human psychology.
That's not going on now. Our medical system is not about money. Every profession in our society is not about money. This is 1920s. He wrote this book. He wrote this book in the 1920s. We're in 2024. A little bit over 100 years later, and we're watching everything manifest itself right in front of us. You can sit here, if you have any intellect, and you do any study, you pay attention just a little bit, and you've lived for a little bit, you understand the medical system, all these institutions in society, it's about money. If you have no money, they'll let you die. They don't care about the people. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. I don't care who you are. They don't care about us. And like when you're listening to this, you got to remember it's the 1920s. So he's talking, he's saying Negro, but in our communities now, it is transformed. Where we live at in Newark, New Jersey, it used to be an all-black city. But now you got people from everywhere. You got Spanish people, like, everywhere. Like, you cannot separate us. You got people from every community here, and we all catching the same hell. So if you're saying like you're only going to deal with like one constituent, like one black people, just this people, you're going to catch a hard time, because most times the black people worse than the other people, because we've been all socialized through these institutions, like what he said earlier, to like differentiate ourselves, to hate each other. You could be blacker than me. You could be as black as me and have a white mind. That's the reality. That's the world we're living on. And that's another book. We're going to read that maybe next. Fanon, Black Skin, White Mask. I mean, like, you could be black as night, at midnight, but your mind is white. What do I mean by your mind is white? We live in a free market. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. Israel needs to defend itself from terrorists when they want to occupy somebody's land. Your mind has been controlled and made to think Western, to think what the people that's oppressing us, the Europeans that's been oppressing everybody. Your mind has been conditioned to think like that. So even you may look like 12 midnight, your mind is as white as a piece of paper. I mean, and it's not like he said, Carter G. Woodson said a second ago, it's not your fault. It's not your fault you think like that. We have to blame the people that got you thinking like that. But we never get to that point, because we bicker and we fight about all kinds of stuff that's not really important. Or you got a job. What did these people give you? You see, I'm stealing his thunder, because he's going to get to all of that part. It's like, I just got to keep going.
Using it for personal gain. With leeches of this type feeding upon all but impoverished people and giving them nothing back, there can be no hope for advancement. No people can go forward when the majority of those who should know better have chosen to go backward, but this is exactly what most of our misleaders do. Not being learned in the history and background of the race, they figure out that there is no hope for the masses, and they decide then that the best thing they can do is to exploit these people for all they can and use the accumulations selfishly. Such persons have no vision.
Somebody told me, why you fighting for these people? They're all cattle. Somebody told me that. Somebody that's supposed to be an activist that's out here working for people. He had a conversation. You're like, you out here, you keep fighting for these people instead of trying to take care of yourself and your family. You don't understand, all these people are like cattle. They're all going to get ran through. There's nothing you could do to save them. But that person didn't really understand me, didn't really know me, because my purpose is to protect that cattle. My purpose is to serve that cattle. And I understand they see them as cattle. That's why Black Panthers, people that do this work, you stand vanguard. You stand there to protect the people. That is your job. That's what you have signed up for. Once you have all this knowledge, then why did you accumulate the knowledge? Just to know it and nobody else know it, and you just sit in there and you know all these things? That's not what it's for. Once you know, once you understand who's oppressing the people, it is your duty to take that mantle, to carry that mantle. Instead of running around here, you throwing out different names, all these people that you know, all these people that's revolution, you post it on your social media, but you do nothing. You do nothing to fight for the people. You do nothing to serve the people. That's what we're talking about. And where did I learn this from? I didn't learn this. It didn't just pop in my mind. I listen to people like Carter G. Woodson. I'm listening to what he's telling me. I listen to Malcolm X. Yo, people think Martin Luther King is like soft. Go listen to King, not what people tell you about King. Go listen to what King was spitting, what he was saying, the reason why they killed them. Go all around the world and listen to our ancestors and why they killed them. When you listen to them, yo, you understand why you must carry on that legacy. But we send our children to these schools that he's talking about that don't educate our children, that just produce people that are going to be going backwards into slavery because they don't know any better. I mean, until we take over the control of these institutions and start to educate our people, there's nothing that's... You see, when I say that, when I say stuff like that, people think like it's impossible. Like, how do we build schools? How do you get a school? Like, they think about all these public schools, all these schools in the community. You start with one school. A couple of people come together, and you start with one school, 2 schools, 3 schools. You have to build the foundation. If you don't build the foundation, you're just going to be talking forever, because everything comes from building institutions. I mean, every journey starts with one step. One step. Like let's say 2 of us, 3 of us, 5 of us, 10 of us, and we start working on schools. In our lifetime, let's say about 50 of us, we're working on schools. All those children that we put our life into, put our energy into, all those hundreds of children that are coming mandate their purpose. You have no idea where this could go. But we so focused on what they're telling us. What they're telling us is the solution, what we need to do. We don't understand we have everything we need. You don't need to build a school. We got homes, we got apartments, we got gyms. You could have it right there in the gym. You could have 10, 15, 20 kids. And you know what Trump said? Trump said he's going to give out $10,000 if you want to educate your own child. Everybody is like, everybody's worried about Trump being president. I'm not worried. He's an idiot. Trump is an idiot and a buffoon. You see, he's in the Black Jacobins. It's about the Haitian Revolution, where they talk about the big whites and the small whites. The white people that really that came there and they got that territory, got Haiti, and they were the ones that fought with the people there to be able to take control of that territory. See, they have respect for the Haitian people. They have respect, like they knew the boundaries, what they couldn't cross. Then after like a couple of years, a couple of generations, they die away and their children take over. And you see, they don't remember that pain. They don't remember that struggle. So they do stupid shit. Excuse my language. They do stupid things. They do ignorant, goofy things like Trump is going to do. He's going to do some evil racist. They're all racist. He's going to be a war criminal. They're all war criminals. But he's going to make mistakes. And one of the mistakes he made, you can Google it and look it up. If you want to educate your child, they'll give you $10,000 a year to educate your own child. Why are we not organizing around that? Take advantage of it. 10 of us, that's 100,000. To educate our own child. We all don't need to stay home. 1 or 2 people out of the group that ain't got no job anyway, you stay home and you take care of the kids. Or maybe somebody older. That's how you start to build your own institutions in the community with nothing. No money, no funding, no government, no NGO. We all fund it ourselves. But I'm going to keep talking. I'm sorry, Secretary General. I know you want me to go.
It is an injustice to the Negro, however, to miseducate him and suffer his manners to be corrupted from infancy unto old age, and then blame him for making the mistakes which such guidance necessitates. People who have been restricted and held down naturally condescend to the lower levels of delinquency. When education has been entirely neglected or improperly managed, we see the worst passions ruling with uncontrolled and incessant sway. Good sense degenerates into craft, anger wrangles into malignity, restraint, which is thought most solitary, comes too late, and the most judicial admonitions are urged in vain. Philosophers have long conceded, however, that every man has two educations, that which is given to him, and the other that which he gives himself. Of the two kinds, the latter is by far more desirable. Indeed, all that is most worthy in man he must work out and conquer for himself. It is that which constitutes our real and best nourishment. What we are merely taught seldom nourishes the mind like that which we teach ourselves. The same eternal principle applies to a race forced to live apart from others as a separate and distinct group. Inasmuch as the education of the Negro has come from without, we can clearly see that he has received only a part of the development which he should have undergone, or he has developed negatively. The Negro lacks mental power, which cannot be expected from ill-fed brains. This naturally brings up a serious question. The people on the outside, who are directing the race from afar, will take this condition of affairs as evidence that the Negro is not prepared for leadership. What they ought to say is that they have not prepared the Negro to assume the responsibility of his own uplift. Instead of doing this, however, they play up this result of their own failure as an argument for imposing upon the Negro race the guidance of others from without. As to whether or not a white man should be a leader of the Negroes may be dismissed as a silly question. What has the color to do with it? Such a worker may be white, brown, yellow, or red if he is heart and soul with the people whom he would serve. It just happens, however, that most white men now in control of Negro institutions are not of this required type. Practically all of those with whom I've talked and communicated believe in imposing some sort of disability upon Negroes. Some object to the freedom of intermarriage as a substitute for concubinage, scoff at the idea of the enfranchisement of the Negroes, approve their segregation, and justify the economic exploitation of the race. Now, if these are the persons to elevate the Negroes, to what point do they expect to lift them, and what will the Negroes be when they get there? With this same thought in mind, a white director of Negroes recently said to another, "I realize that I have no useful function in my present position as a president of a Negro institution. I do not approve of their aspirations to many things. I cannot accept the students in my house as I would white students because it might lead to an interracial romance. Marrying is such a difficult problem at the best that I should not like to see one of my children make a failure in life by marrying a Negro." In other words, continued he, we live in two different...
Real short. But these are the leaders. These are the people in position of leadership that he's talking about. Yeah, but today, just think about today. The people that work in these institutions, that live in the suburbs, that come here, you think they want anybody from this community, Roscoe from this community, marrying their children in the suburbs? Getting involved, having relationships with their children in the suburbs? You think they would want to give their daughters to somebody, one of the kids in the public schools in Newark, New Jersey?
You ain't got to go that far. The well-to-do charter...
Nobody can hear you. You got to talk on the mic.
I mean, you ain't got to go that far because we got class warfare right here in Newark. The two-parent household, charter schools, kids mingling with the public school, all that.
Yeah.
Conquer and divide.
There's class war right here. You see, like we talk about race, they talk about race. But by and large today, you see, when people talk about luminaries, people like Carter G. Woodson, Malcolm X, you act like they can't make mistakes. Yo, as time passed by, it's things that they couldn't have foreseen, that they wouldn't have knew about. Carter G. Woodson can't imagine the community, Newark, New Jersey, being as it is right now, as diverse. In that period, it will be all black people in those ghettos. By and large, it will be mostly black people. But today, it's not like that. I mean, today, it's not, our schools is not ran by white people. They're ran by black people. Black and brown, Spanish people. They're the ones that run our schools. I mean, think about it. All the people in leadership. These are people that look like us. It's not white people no more. Do you think those people in leadership would allow their children, their daughters, to date children that they're educated in Newark that are reading at a 3%, 4% proficiency level, that they have no future? You think those people want their children intermingling? Nah, they don't. No, they wouldn't. So it's not 100 years ago when it was all white people or whatever else in the school teaching. Yo, today it's us that are in those schools teaching. And we have, the chasm is so wide, the class chasm is so wide. It's like you can't even, I don't think there's any fixing it. Because there's an incentive. There's an incentive for that class chasm. I mean, so for them to be able to come back and do anything, they have to commit what, what's his name? Che Guevara calls class suicide. You have to commit class suicide to come and work with the people on the bottom. And I'm keeping it a buck with you, in my opinion, in my analysis, they're not doing it. By and large, they're not doing it. So we have to, everything that Carter G. Woodson is saying we must do, like, because he's saying this, that the middle class, those people, those teachers, those professors, those lawyers, those doctors, that's what they're supposed to do to change our condition. No, today I'm saying that's what we must do. Nobody's coming to save us. We can't put our faith in them. And these are the people that he's talking about have to build these institutions. 100 years later, I disagree with you. We can't trust these people no more. It's been 100 years. Go back and think everything that's happened to us, our people, for over 100 years, and they're all responsible. All our leaders that have been killed, they've been responsible. All of them. You see them out Sharpton, all these people that stand up on TV, they're responsible because they were the other side. Whether they had a briefcase with a microphone in it or not, they worked for the other side to kill our revolutionaries or to try to silence them. You go to Africa, Lumumba, all these people, other Africans killed them. They use other Africans to kill our people, wherever you want to go.
Worlds. While I am among them, I cannot become a part of them. How then can I help them under these circumstances? I'm acquainted with another white educator at the head of a Negro institution who will not address a colored girl as Miss, and to avoid the use of a title in speaking to women of the race, he addresses them as his kin. One of them was sharp enough to reply to him thus when he accosted her as Auntie. Oh, I'm so glad that I found my lost relatives at last. My mother often told me that I had some distinguished kin, and just to think that you're my nephew makes me feel glad. Another such exploiter in charge of a Negro college never wears his hat on the campus. His confidential explanation is that he might have to lift it when he meets a Negro woman. Of course, that would never do. White supremacy would be lost in the Negro school. As we realize more and more that education is not merely imparting information which is expected to produce certain results, we see very clearly the inconsistency of the position of white persons as executives of Negro institutions. These misfits belong to the very group working out the segregation of the Negro, and they come into these institutions mainly to earn a living. They make no particular contribution to the development of education, for they are not scholarly enough to influence educational theory, and they are so far out of sympathy with the Negro that they cannot make any contribution to educational practice. These foreigners are not bringing to such institutions large...
I'm about to put it back on, but while you think about that, just think of that being applied to class. They don't really care about us in our communities, man. They're just here to make money and keep it trucking.
Sums of money which the Negroes cannot obtain, for the institutions now directed by Negroes are receiving larger appropriations than those under the management of whites. Our so-called thinkers, however, seldom see the inevitable results of this unsound policy. Not long ago, when the author wrote the textbook entitled Negro Makers of History, it was adversely criticized by a Negro who said that the book should have had as an illustration the cut of the white man who established a certain Negro college. The author had to explain that the book was to give an account of what the Negro has done, not for what has been done for him. The school referred to, moreover, was in no sense a Negro school. It had very few Negro teachers and only one Negro trustee. The policy of the school was determined altogether by others without giving the Negro credit for having a thought on education. In other words, it was merely a school which permitted to attend. If they picked up here and there something to help them, well, good, and if not, may God help. It is all right to have a white man as the head of a Negro college, or to have a red man at the head of the yellow one, if in each case the incumbent has taken out his naturalization papers and has identified himself as one of the group which he is trying to serve. It seems that the white educators of this day are unwilling to do this, and for that reason they can never contribute to the actual development of the Negro from within. You cannot serve people by giving them orders as to what to do. The real servant of the people must live among them, think with them, feel for them, and die with them.
Yo, think about that. Think what he just said. Yo, that's opposite of what people think it is now. They think it's really, to serve the people, to work in politics, to be a politician, you come to just get rich. You don't live in the ghetto with the people. Yo, they'll look at you like you're crazy. What you want me to be? You want me to be poor my whole life? Yo, if you're going to struggle with the people, you're supposed to live with them and die with them. You don't go live in the suburb up there in the valley somewhere you're looking down at the people down low and you talking about something. They need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. That's not leadership. But that's not what we learn now. That's not what we learn now.
A worker in Negro institutions, too, can never be successful without manifesting some faith in the people with whom he has cast his lot. His efforts must not be merely an attempt to stimulate their imitation of things in a foreign sphere. He must study his community sufficiently to discover the things which have a trend in the proper direction, that he may stimulate such forces and thus help the community to do better the good things which it may be capable of doing and at the same time may be interested in doing. If these people are to be brought the ideas of foreigners and must be miraculously transformed into something else before anything can be made of them, such efforts will be a fruitless task like most of the so-called education and uplift of the Negroes in America. The Negro, in spite of his confinement to the ghetto, has some opportunities to develop his special capacities if they are properly studied and understood. The real servant of the people then will give more attention to those to be served than to the use that somebody may want to make of them. He will be more concerned with what he can do to increase the ease, comfort, and happiness of the Negro than with how the Negro may be used to contribute to the ease, comfort, and happiness of others. The servant of the people, unlike the leader, is not on a high horse elevated above the people and trying to carry them to some designated point to which he would like to go for his own advantage. The servant of the people is down among them, living as they live, doing what they do, and enjoying what they enjoy. He may be a little better informed than some other members of the group. It may be that he has had some experience that they have not had, but in spite of this advantage, he should have more humility than those whom he serves, for we are told that whosoever is greatest among you, let him be your servant.
All power to the people. It was like, there's nothing more beautiful for me to hear. There's nothing I want to hear on the radio or hear anywhere.
Hold on, Chairman. Is that from the Bible, though? Is that the Christian thing?
No, that probably is the Christian thing to do. That sounds like something from the Bible. I mean, and this is what I grew. I grew up in a Christian home. I'm not religious no more. I mean, you can call me atheist or whatever, but I grew up. My mother was in a church. My my stepfather was a pastor. I grew up in the church. I went to every denomination up and down the whole line, even Islam. I studied all of that. I mean, all these books, all these things preach serving, loving the people. But that's not what these people that carry these messages do today. They don't care. But the message that he's given about the best of you shall serve you. I don't see, I can't see any other way. How can you have the least of us serving us? You got to have the best of you. But the best of us have been told to leave and go somewhere else, to leave and go to the suburbs, to not come back. You hear, as soon as you hear an athlete, celebrity, they get money, they say, I can't live in the hood. People are going to try to rob me. They're going to try to do, they're scared of their own people. They've been taught to be separate from their own people when the people love them. And if they build institutions, because that's what he was talking about just now when he finished off, we have to build institutions to teach. Because even the people in the ghetto, if you build the institutions to teach them, to show them what they don't know, what they should know, you'll be amazed by what comes up out of that. You'll be amazed. But nobody spends that time to do that anymore. I mean, but if anybody want to say something, the floor is free, man. Y'all got to stop letting me do all the talking. I mean, hey, General Secretary, do you see any hands up?
Looking now, give me 1 second.
And if you want...
There is some comments in the chat that I would like to read.
Go ahead, read the comments.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Read the comments before I move on to the next thing.
Have you heard?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Talk to me, Basil.
Good afternoon. Oh my God, I'm so glad. You know, I've never entertained this book. I don't know why, but I am so glad that you have brought this book to our ending, and I'm actually going to get a copy. You know, like you said, with respect, that was a religious quote out of the Bible, and that holds very, very true. But I was thinking that, you know, we're in a society right now, like you said, Brother Africa, that things have changed so much that we're so stressed out. You know, we have children who have college, these loans out here. There's so much more suicides, but this is all conservative to do this, to make us not want to fight and do the things that we really need to do in our community, and that must change. You know, when we think about the 60s, you know, we didn't have anything, so we gave up. You know, we didn't have anything to say, okay, you know, I'm going to keep mine over here or whatever. We came to really together as one, but it seems like right now that they put so much burden on these students with this college debt coming out. I remember when I came out of college, I was only owing like $5,000. Of that, I mean, so something like that, like you said, we got to get on a front and fight for that. Also, you know, I've been thinking there's a in our I think here in New Jersey we have a at will law, and that at will law says that they can fire you at any time. I don't know where that started, but it needs to end. I don't understand why nobody really addresses it, because you know an employer can fire you at any time if you're at will state. So I don't know where and who or why would someone want to ever have something like that come into law. What do you think about that?
No, it's like it's just part of it. That's like I expect things like that from them. No, I really expect it, because like our government is an imperialist, it's a fascist government. All the power has to go to the corporations. The power don't go to the people. Like, how can you tell a corporation that they have the ability, the will to fire anybody at any time? Who are you making that decision for? Who passed that policy? Who did you pass that policy for? It wasn't for the people. You see, but I expect them to do that, and which is more of the reason why we must build our own institutions. Because if we don't, even economic ones, I struggle all the time, and I'm talking to people now. We try to find some economic base, to build an economic base in the community, to show that we can sustain ourselves. I mean, I'm trying to get the people together to do it now. But like, that's one of my duties as the chairman of the party. I have to put institutions in place to show the vision that I have of what I want to happen. And a big part of it is creating an economic base where we don't have to go to these people begging them to give us jobs, begging them to give us a place to stay. Like, we got to build cooperatives. We have to, and this is not my idea. This is what the Panthers have said since the 60s. We have to build cooperatives. You bring your penny, I bring my penny, and we buy that house next door. Once we buy that house, our money's in that house. Nobody's coming to take that house. They're not coming to gentrify us. Once the whole community is involved and invested in the community that way, nobody's coming to take anything from them. We would all die before they come and take anything. That's the level. That's where our minds have to be at. But I'm not surprised, sister. Like, I'm not surprised that they do that. Bro, like, with Trump in power, I can't even imagine the kind of things that they're about to do now. But the whole society is going to be laid bare, and people are going to get to see for themselves what the society really is about. I mean, so like, it is what it is. But I got to move on.
Wait, quickly.
Go ahead.
This is from Brother Enoch. That's right and exact. It stems from how we program ourselves to such stagnant and misguided tropes. I once heard a Jew state that the reason that the Jewish community is so successful and children grow up to become property of business owners is because the community, the education system, have consistent messaging of such things, and investments continue to go right back into community supporting each other on all levels. Imagine turning 14 years old, and at your birthday party, absolutely everyone who attends brings you envelopes of money and resources. Every accomplishment comes with more and more hookup. This also happens in Hindu and in some Asian communities. Yet our communities always spreading messages of hurt, hate, and invest in corporations, chasing shining things and name brands that just do not belong to us. There's We'll read it as the show progresses.
All power to the people. Nah, right? That's exactly what Carter G. Woodson is talking about. The miseducation of the Negro. Our miseducation in our communities. This is what we're suffering from. But like last week, we was going to talk about the Matt Gaetz appointment, and let the people know, because this is a political education class. Most people don't know who Matt Gaetz is. Most Americans don't even listen to politics, don't pay attention to politics. We're going to start off with a baseline here. I'm letting you know. I mean, because all politicians are crooked. They all work for a system that's crooked. They all work for an imperialist system. Matt Gaetz is crooked. Obama was crooked. Pelosi crooked. All AOC crooked. All these people are crooked. So we get off on that baseline. We understand that. But as an intellectual, as somebody with a mind, somebody with a mature brain, you should be able to hold two ideas at the same time. You should know, like, yeah, this dude is corrupt. But why are they coming at him with this strategy to try to remove him or to try to demean him or dehumanize him? You should be able to see that. You should be able to understand, like, yeah, he a jerk, but like how they coming is crazy. I mean, and they've been doing this for decades, for years. Yo, I've been involved with politically. I've been focused on politics since 2006, 7. And then since 2006 and 7 to now, what I have learned, oh my goodness, none of those people are to be trusted. None of them. Like, and this is coming from somebody that first, I remember when Obama was coming in, I'm like, yeah, first black president. Yo, he might actually do something. Yo, that's where my mind was at politically. That's how naive I was. I used to be hearing them, because I used to flip back and forth. I used to go from Fox to MSNBC, and I used to be trying to see like what they're talking about. They'll be talking about Obama like he's the Antichrist, he this, he the devil, he this, and then I go to MSNBC, they're talking about how smart he is, how intellectual, and I'm sitting there thinking like, why do they hate him so much? What about him? But it took a little bit of time. I had to watch for myself. I watched the election. I watched him coming into power. People losing their homes. Instead of him helping people get their homes back, he let those people, the bankers, he let them get away scot-free. Those war criminals. They used to talk about George Bush as a war criminal. You see, people don't remember now because they change history. They whitewash history. They tell us different stuff. But they used to be talking about Obama, all of them. They used to be calling Bush a war criminal. He came in, none of that. None of them went to court for having torture. Nothing Abu Ghraib, nothing these people did. He held none of them responsible for it. And I'm looking like, wow. Then I saw him let all those people go to the streets, lose their homes. I'm like, wow. He let all those bankers off, and then they gave the bankers money. I'm like, wow. That's my education. My education into politics was watching the whole Obama administration. Then after he left, I watched what they did to Bernie. It takes time to see this thing. After you see it over and over, you start to understand it, and you could tell what's what. So when they say Trump won, which we all knew he was going to win, nobody really thought Kamala was going to win. Yeah, they was lying. They were saying all them polls that she was going to, but we really knew nobody liked her. Nobody liked her. Nobody liked her before. I don't know. She wasn't even going to, when she was running for president, nobody was voting for her. She lost her state. She lost everything. So, like, I really knew, like, hey, man, look, I'm with the people. The people gamble, I gamble too, man. I be on that fantasy football. I be on FanDuel. I be on all these sites. I gamble. When you gamble, you got to go by numbers. You got to go by statistics. If you really want to, like, try to have a shot, even though we all know the deck is fixed, you really can't win. But anyway, I knew she wasn't going to win because she didn't have the numbers. And I was seeing people on the ground talking about the Democratic Party, people suffering. People suffering. I'm talking about people can't afford to live because their rent is being doubled under a Democratic president. Democratic, whatever, Democrat everywhere. Democrat council, Democrat mayors, Democrat governor, Democrat president, and people are catching hell. Of course they're going to want something else. We knew she wasn't going to win, but as soon as Trump won, he shocked me. And that's why I said, like, you never know what these people would do. You never know what somebody like a Trump would do. Matt Gaetz? Yo, bro, he's going to put Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. Now, if you don't know who Matt Gaetz is, like, of course, like, it really don't mean nothing to you. But I'm about to show you a clip of who Matt Gaetz is, of how they spoke about Matt Gaetz for the last 3-4 years since he started talking about Trump, because Matt Gaetz was against Trump at first, but since Matt Gaetz started siding with Trump, I'm going to show you how they've been coming at him, and it's how they come after everybody. You want to guess? Do you want to guess how they came after him before I put it on? Because it's how they come after anybody. Anybody want to guess? That don't know. But let me play it. Let me play it. Oh, no, not him. We're not going to go there. We're not going to play him yet. We're going to play Matt Gaetz first. So this is how they spoke about Matt Gaetz. This say 3 years ago. I think it's a little bit longer than 3 years ago. But this is how they spoke about Matt Gaetz.
The House Ethics Committee has just announced it's launching a formal investigation into the embattled Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. The news comes just hours before Gaetz is supposed to give a highly anticipated speech down at the Doral Trump Hotel in Florida. Let's go to the scene. CNN's Randy Kay has the very latest.
Congressman Matt Gaetz will take the stage under a cloud of suspicion, which has even some members of his own party calling for him to resign. Why does Rep. Adam Kinzinger think he should go? The accusations are stacking up. The Daily Beast now reporting that Gaetz sent 2 late-night Venmo transactions in May 2018 for $900 to his friend Joel Greenberg.
This is how they're building their whole case. CNN, MSNBC, all the media outlets, from the radio, the morning programs. This is how now they're talking about Matt Gaetz. They're not talking about what he's done to people in whatever area he's in, whatever area that he's supposed to be taking care of, supposed to be the congressman, councilman, senator, whatever he's supposed to be, whatever politics. They're not talking about the crime that he has committed against those people. Because I'm sure if you go look at Matt Gaetz' record, he has done the people wherever he's supposed to be working at, he's done them dirty. But they're not talking about that. They're not talking about the people that's being kicked out of their home, the people that don't have a place to stay. They're talking about he sent, I think, what they say, $900, 2 different payments of $900 to this guy right here on the screen. And on this guy going to take that money, and they say he sent, not, they don't even know if it's that money, but they say this guy, they investigate him. He didn't get found guilty or nothing. He's never been found guilty of anything. This is 3 years later. And this is how they're choosing to attack him, to discredit him. Like, this is what the media does. Why nobody listens to the media anymore. But this is, I mean, like, the first thing they said is he didn't give money to the women. They said he gave money to this guy. He sent this guy money, and this guy took some money, about the same amount of money, and he sent it to 2 women. Come on, let it keep playing.
A former Seminole County, Florida tax collector, an accused sex offender. The next morning, according to the outlet, in an 8-minute span, Greenberg used the same app to send 3 young women money, totaling the same amount.
And what we have are Venmo payments that show payments.
So this is what they've put out there. This is going out to millions of people to watch, where he has not been found guilty of anything, but you want to discredit him. So to discredit him, this is supposed to be journalists. None of this stuff, the sources, none of this stuff has been founded. They're just saying somebody did an investigation and they found out, like, he sent money to that guy and they got sent money to 3 different women. Nothing, boy ain't been to jail or nothing, ain't been charged with nothing. But this is what the media does.
From the congressman to this local official, and then hours later, payments that add up to the same exact amount to 3 young women, one of whom later turned out to be a porn star. And all of these women are extremely young.
Extremely young meaning what?
Well, one just turned 18 about 6 months before that happened.
CNN has an independent...
So he said he gave the money to young, not him, Gaetz didn't give the money to young women. The person that he gave the money to sent the money out to young women. So they were like, so he asked him, how young were the women? So he said one of them turned 18 6 months before he gave him the money. None of that stuff he's saying right there is illegal for that guy to send that money to those women. None of that stuff is illegal. It's what you infer from it, what your mind, where it goes. And they use the media to attack him. And this is important. I need you to understand this because we're leading somewhere. It's important.
Confirm this report or what the money was used for. From the start, Gaetz has denied doing anything wrong.
It is a horrible allegation, and it is a lie.
A source also telling CNN federal investigators are looking into a trip Gates took to the Bahamas and whether women were paid to travel for sex with the congressman and others. That is a potential federal crime. CBS News, which...
A potential federal crime. After all this years, nothing. They found nothing. But I could go on and keep playing this, because this is how they came at him the whole time, for a couple of years. This is how they came at him.
This is straight out of this kind of new era in crisis management led by Trump, which is effectively never back down, never apologize.
She got her own show on CNN now. She got her whole show on CNN. Like, this how you did. Remember what Cardi G was talking about? Like, they put them, like, she's supposed to be the black face on there. She's a black woman, so they're supposed to have diversity. That's what they're supposed to be to me. But she's spitting the same thing that they're all spitting. She's saying the same thing that they're all saying. I mean, like, her brain is what they want to be put in there. She's not speaking for black people. So she was part of the whatever whatever. Let me go to the next video. The same thing.
Tonight there are receipts of Matt Gaetz' payments to women. The New York Times has reviewed payment receipts.
Now you got to remember, this is day after day after day after day after day. Not been found guilty of nothing, haven't been to court, ain't nobody taking him to court, he ain't been charged with nothing, but day after day after day after day, the barrage keep going. I don't want to play her either. I'm tired of hearing all this stuff. But this is him on Tucker Carlson. He's going to deny everything.
12 hours ago, late this afternoon, the New York Times ran a story saying that Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is under federal investigation for playing some role in sex trafficking and potentially having a relationship with this.
So after they put it out there, it's been out there for a while. Now the Congress, wherever, they got to do their investigation, because all these claims can be out there and they don't do nothing. So they had their investigation. You know what they found in the investigation? This is Biden White House. This is the Biden investigators. They found nothing. They found nothing to charge them with. So we'll fast forward all of this. Matt Gaetz is going to come on and say, I never did it, this, that, and third. That ain't what I want you to hear. I want to go forward. Now, I'm about to play this video so you can understand who Matt Gaetz is. Now, this, like, he's, just listen to him.
Donald John
Trump.
The Republicans hate him and the Democrats hate him.
McCarthy.
I'll probably hate him too.
Gallego. Jeffries. Garamendi.
Attorney General, you've told us that it's a dangerous conspiracy theory to allege that the Department of Justice is communicating with these state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis' office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
You make a request. We'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory, that there's coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not has no interest in
you won't answer the question about whether or not
police.
that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing. You said it was over 200,000 that have occurred on your watch. Do you have any basis to disagree with that assessment?
Again, I don't have the numbers as I sit here right now. What I can
Seems
tell
like a number you should know. How many times the FBI is breaking the law under your watch, especially if it's like over 1 million, to not know that number? And I'm worried about your veracity on the subject as well. Play the video.
letters for
You going to the
investigation
FISA
of
court?
the Capitol.
Or you
I don't
going to-
believe FISA is remotely implicated in our investigation.
So there, Senator Lee's asking you whether or not FISA was in any way involved in your January 6th investigation, and you say no. Was that truthful?
I said that I did not believe it was.
Okay, so now let's pull up what the court said, which was something a little different than what you said. So here, no, that's not the right one. Yeah, here we go, right there. It says, the government has reported additional significant violations of the querying standard, including several relating to the January 6, 2021 breach of the Capitol. So I guess the question, Director A, is, did you not know when you were answering these questions that the FBI was engaging in these illegal searches, or did you perjure yourself to Senator Lee?
I certainly didn't perjure myself. At the time that I testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, I didn't have that piece of information. I will add...
Well, that was a court order. You didn't have that piece of information because the court hadn't yet rendered it. What you've done to execute this Mayorkas doctrine, where so long as you don't commit a crime, you get to stay here and burden our hospitals, burden our schools, burden our social services, burden our jails. You've sent the message to the cartels, and then you've taken this app, and you've digitized illegal immigration, and you've scaled it to the moon. Like, this app that you've got everybody downloading is like the Disney...
You can get an idea of who he was. Like, look at all these people. That's the Homeland Security Secretary. And he's bringing all these people in front of Congress, and they're trying to hold them to task. Yo, that's a no-no. People from both sides of the aisle are not going to support nobody like this. I mean, remember what I was talking about, the old, what is it? The old whites and the young whites, whatever. The two different classes or mindset of these of the imperialists back then in those books in Black Jacobins, they call them the small whites and the big whites. But like these imperialists, these rich people now, the ones the new money, they really don't know what they're doing, how they're challenging the institutions that allow them to be. Like Matt Gaetz, he's really an idiot. You see, he's a brash, cocky. He doesn't understand how the system really works. This is who Trump said was going to be the Attorney General. And you know who he was going to go after as Attorney General? These are the people he was going to go after. The heart of the Democratic Party, the media. That's who Gaetz was going to go after, because that's who they say they were coming after. But since they started coming out with all that stuff about Gaetz, about the sex, about the women, about the girls, about all these things about, man, Trump said, I got somebody else for you. He put her in there. She just a Matt Gaetz, but a woman. Just listen to what she said. Just listen to what she said.
This is just one big press conference trying to smear Donald Trump, trying to hurt Donald Trump.
It's really unbelievable what they're doing.
Right.
They are obstructing the candidate, President Donald Trump.
The Department of Justice, the prosecutors will be prosecuted, the bad ones. The investigators will be investigated, because the deep state, last term for President Trump, they were hiding in the shadows, but now they have a spotlight on them, and they can all be investigated.
Yo, that's what they're afraid of. That's why Mika and Joe went to go speak to Donald Trump, because they're afraid these people are going to come into office and going to investigate them. That's what they were so afraid of when they were calling him Hitler. They're going to do all this stuff. The reason why they were crying the night of the election, because they know, yo, they're at war with each other. These people are at war with each other. And what are we supposed to be doing over here? What is our duty? What are we supposed to be doing in our communities while they're at war with each other? This is the perfect time to organize. This is the perfect time to mobilize in our community, to do the work in our communities, to serve our communities. But most of the time, you listen to people, they tell you to be worried about these things right here. Who's going to be Attorney General, as if that's going to change the material conditions on the ground right here. That's not going to change nothing on the plantation. Our lives are going to continue the same way they continue under Biden. People still going to be trying to find a place to stay. They can't afford a place to stay. Every corner you go to, you drive to people out there begging. It ain't always been like this. It hasn't. Like in the 1900s, they would say early 1900s, even before that, 1800s. Like even when you listen to people like Marx, they say like capitalism is going to consume itself. It took a while. It took, well, from Marx to now, it's almost 200 years. It took almost 200 years for them to be able to cannibalize themselves. But I believe with the advent of social media, like that, I think that just threw a monkey wrench in everything. Because people are able to see, record, and deal with all of this in real time. Yo, it's like before, like I remember when I was little and I was living in Africa with my father, we had to send a letter to America. Like you had to wait, like you wrote on a piece of paper. I wrote probably like a paragraph because I was little. I probably like 6, 7 years old, and I was writing a letter to my mother. And I write on that piece of paper and I send it off. Yo, I had to wait months to get that information back. Now people just be on FaceTime. They just be on Facebook. If they're not calling, talking on the phone, there's so many ways to talk to people, for people to talk to each other in real time. You can't really hide none of this from people no more. And people are waking up. But what are you waking up to? What are you waking up to do? What are we going to do? That's what the Black Panther Party has always been in the communities, trying to educate the people, like Carter G. Woodson said, to work with the people. Find the things that they like, what they like to do, and use that to try to organize the people. Find what they're suffering. How are the people suffering? You see, when you talk to people like Matt Gaetz, when you talk to people like AOC, when you talk to all of these politicians, even the ones at the city council level, even the mayors, when you talk to them, they don't understand. They really don't know how people are living out here, how they're surviving. You see, like when they come in, they give carte blanche to the landlords, to the slumlords. They let them do whatever they want to do. They write policies for them, but they don't know how, like, face to face, on the ground, how those policies really affect people. They understand it's pushing people into the streets because they see it, but they don't really see, like, they don't see somebody come home and their rent is double and there's a piece of paper on their door. You got family, you got kids. You go to work, you pay your rent, and you come back, they say your rent is double. And now like 50–60% of your earnings is going towards rent.
Chairman, they also don't see issues like those that have Section 8. These landlords aren't taking Section 8. And if they do take Section 8, they increase the security that you have to put down. They're including realtors' fees, broker fees. And at the end of the day, these people can't use their Section 8 voucher. They end up losing it, and they end up in the street. So this housing crisis affects a lot of people in a whole bunch of different ways. It's not just the homeless people on the streets. People are actually can't find housing. They can't find housing.
You can't bring people up to twerk at a presidential convention that's going to make people vote for you. Twerking ain't going to work when people are on the streets. And they don't understand that those polls, the people that go out and poll people, try to see, they don't poll the people out here suffering. It's a small niche group of people that they poll. Now, because even science can be used the wrong way. They poll people that vote. People, like, who are the people that vote? The people that benefit from this system. If you don't benefit from this system, you have no reason to be pulling a lever. And most of us are being exploited, are being used by both parties. I mean, so like nobody leave here and be like, Africa support Donald Trump, support Matt Gaetz. No, it's nothing. Oh, I almost forgot. Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard was another one. I don't know if y'all want to see it, man. Hey, should I? Yeah, go through it. So let's go to Tulsi Gabbard real quick. I'm sorry. Let's go to Tulsi Gabbard. Let me play.
An extraordinary development in the presidential campaign. Hillary Clinton, the 2016 nominee, called Tulsi Gabbard, one of the current candidates, quote, the favorite of the Russians.
That's another thing. If they don't call you a pedophile, if they don't call you a terrorist, a Russian. That's their other playbook. A Russian. They call her. She served in the military. She served. She served in battle, in all kinds. Hillary Clinton has never served this country a day in her life. Never. That woman was in the military. Hillary Clinton came out and said that she was a Russian bot because she didn't support Hillary Clinton and she was trying to run for office. She wanted to be president herself. And she didn't bow down to Hillary Clinton, the Democratic Party, and let Hillary get anointed. So she said, nah, she's going out here to go run. And she came at Hillary Clinton. She came, I think in 2016, during those elections, she called her a war criminal, all this stuff. She came at Hillary Clinton. I mean, and Hillary Clinton, what she going to do? What else she going to do? She can't talk about her military record. So what Hillary Clinton did would call her a Russian. She told, like, this is somebody that works, she's an officer in the military. She's a congressperson. And Hillary Clinton went around to use the media. You see the media's reporting it. That's CBS reporting it.
And one moment, Chairman. And they're not just keeping this Russian smear to the politicians. They're putting it on activists and revolutionaries as well. The Uhuru group. They just luckily won their case against the U.S. government because Biden said that they were Russian bots, Russian sympathizers, and whatnot. Black activist groups they're coming after. And now that Biden is inching towards World War III, it's going to be a lot of Russian smears for those who are against the war.
And that's what we was about to talk about. We're going to talk about that this week. When I said we had something else to talk about. Biden just allowed, Biden just sent rockets to Ukraine for them to launch them rockets at Russia. Russia already told them if they launch rockets into into Russia, we're gonna look at that as what they call them. What they call them, the whole group. There's a whole group of them. NATO. We're gonna look at that as NATO is declaring a war on Russia. You already told them that. And what did Biden do right after the election? Because first Biden said, what Biden said? Biden said we're gonna give Israel whatever time right after the election to see if they're still stopping humanitarian trucks from coming in before we deal with them. Man, the election is over. They ain't doing nothing. They found them guilty. They see them on camera stopping it. They see them blocking the road. Like, they ain't do nothing to them. They let that ride. And now, about 60 days before this dude leave the White House, what did he do? Send rockets into Russia to start a war, to provoke a war. That's what these sociopaths are doing. While we sitting here in our communities talking about, like, looking at these people as their leaders, their anything. These people are sociopaths. And let me tell y'all something. If there was to be a nuclear war, something happened, they all have codes. They have secret places where they could go hide at. You need to understand that. These people like Hillary Clinton, all these politicians, Donald Trump, Matt Gaetz, all these Congress people, they have an exit plan when everything go to S, you know what I mean. And what do we have? That's the whole point of being politically aware, to understand what's going on, to be politically educated. That's the importance of all of that. You need to understand when these people start a nuclear war, they have a place for their families, them and their families to go, while we all stay here and burn in that fire. So what's our strategy? I mean, but that's what that just made it started with her, because Tosi was the other person that Trump put up there, and so who you think she's gonna come after? Who you think she's gonna come after when she go in there?
Following this, and Nancy, what are we to?
Nancy ain't talking about nothing.
A bunch of tension from Kremlin-linked media, just as Green Party
Kremlin-linked
Jill
media.
Stein did.
Now she went on The View. Now they use all these shows, The View, all these different platforms to be able to come at people. Now when she went on The View, this is how she talked to them on The View. This was 5 years ago.
First question: what's happening with the telescope and the stuff?
Oh gosh.
This is called ice breaking. So in Hawaii, they got a telescope that this corporation is trying to put up there, and she represents Hawaii. So she's been fighting to stop the telescope. All the people there don't want the telescope, but all the corporations, the rich, the imperialists, they want to put telescope there, whatever. And she's supposed to be. So Whoopi started the conversation off as an icebreaker. But she gonna answer that, and she gonna go right into business.
And do all this stuff, and the Hawaiians said, no, you're not gonna do that.
Yeah,
So
shut up. Mama hear that.
I can't, because it can't. You know, we were just talking about EU Ambassador Sondland changing his testimony yesterday, that he had to be refreshed about quid pro quo, and you've been skeptical more than a lot of the Democrats about the impeachment inquiry. Were you surprised by what he did?
You notice what she called her? Whoopi called her a Democrat. She's not a Democrat no more. This was 5 years ago. After all the stuff that the Democrats did to her, calling her Russian bot, all of that, she switched. And now she's working for Trump. And now she's working for Trump. And guess who she's going to come after when she go in? You know what she's going to be in charge of? She's in charge of all the FBI, CIA, all of these people. That's who she's going to be. She's going to be getting all this information. She's going to have people to investigate people. Yo, that's why they scared. That's why all these people scared. All these people that have been using their platform to attack them, to come after them, they are scared.
Yesterday?
Well, look, the facts are important, and we'll get to that. I want to start with something that I think is also important about facts, because recently on your show here...
I was just going to get to that.
Good. Helping you out.
You want me to ask you?
Yeah. No, look, some of you have accused me of being a traitor to my country, a Russian asset, a Trojan horse, or a useful idiot, I think was the term that you used, which basically means that I'm naive or lacking help.
You notice how Joy kept cutting her off? Because she understands. She knows what they've done is wrong. She doesn't want her to speak to clear the atmosphere. She doesn't. So she's going to keep trying to cut her off to try to distract her. These are all the little strategies that they try to use. These people are sociopaths. But they're allowed to stay on those media platforms and just lie to the American people every day. She ain't gonna let her get away with it.
You know what's going on.
They use that.
I want to let your viewers know exactly who I am.
All right.
Set the record straight. I am a patriot. I love our country. I am a strong and intelligent woman of color, and I have dedicated almost my entire adult life to protecting the safety, security, and the freedom of all Americans in this country. It was the attacks on 9/11.
I guess we're getting a little bit far.
See, Joy knows she's winning the crowd. So look at her whole old evil self. She's trying to change the conversation. Yo, bro, just shut up. Just shut up.
Ahead of ourselves, but Franklin Graham finds you refreshing. He doesn't find me refreshing. Richard Spencer, the white nationalist leader, says he could vote for you.
So look what she's doing. She's not talking about nothing of substance. She's going to talk about other people that say they support her. She's going to try to use that to try to blemish her record. How are these people even allowed to be anywhere speaking? Whose view is she carrying if it's not for the imperialists?
Joy, this is why...
I mean, you're on Tucker Carlson at least 10 times. Why don't you go on Chris Wallace's show?
This is why I'm here, because you and other people continue to spread these innuendos that have nothing to do with who I am.
Well, Hillary Clinton started it, and then you shot back at her, boy. You called her the queen of warmongers.
You doubled down, unfortunately, you doubled down on the baseless accusations that she made that strikes at the core of who I am. I'm a soldier. Because of the attacks on 9/11, I enlisted in the military to go after and defeat and destroy the evil that visited us on that day. I've served now for over 16 years, deployed twice to the Middle East during the height of the war, where every single day I saw firsthand the terribly high human cost. That's why I ran for Congress.
We actually have the clip of Hillary Clinton, just to put this in context of what we're talking about. Let's take a look at that.
I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's a favorite of the Russians. They have a bunch of, sites and bots and other ways of supporting her so far. And That's assuming Jill Stein will give it up, which she might not, because she's also a Russian asset.
How has nobody come after her for making these accusations? But they're going to come after her. That's why Trump put Tosi up there. I don't have to do the work no more. You see, he learned from his first presidency. I'm not going to do the heavy lifting. I'm going to put people in place that y'all been attacking for them to do the heavy lifting. Yo, if you ask me between Tosi and Hillary Clinton, who is a Russian asset, go back and look at Hillary Clinton on money. Go look where she got money from. Go see if she ever got money from Russia. If she ever did any business with Russia. Go back and go look. All these records are open. All these records is open, is public. You'll go and look in the 90s. Look at the the Clinton Foundation. Go look at all those funds and see if they got any money from Russian oligarchs. See, but this is what people like this do. When they have nothing else to talk about, they bring up lies.
So really? I mean, this is outrageous. This is outrageous and offensive on so many levels. I've served as a member of Congress now for almost 7 years, receiving high-level national security and intelligence briefings, serving on the foreign affairs.
She was in the military, and she served in the Congress for the last 6 years, but this was, 5 years ago. So she's been in the Congress even longer now. And this is what these people are saying about her. If they would lie about somebody like this, what would they do with an activist? What would they do with somebody like me? Like, they've done it already. The mayor tried to lie on me, council people. I mean, like, I had court cases. All the court cases disappeared. Like, I was supposed to go to court for all them cases disappeared. We still waiting. They said the case where the grand jury saying we assaulted this person, we did this. So they charged me with beating up a mentally dysfunctional person before. I had to go to court. They said I beat up somebody that was mentally ill. I had to go get a lawyer and go to court. And they couldn't produce the person because there's no such person. But these are all the things that they weaponize the judicial system that come after you. Now she's in charge of the CIA. She's in charge of the FBI. So she has the ability to investigate all these people. I still don't think they're going to do anything. If you ask me, my heart of hearts, is she going to come after the Clintons? Or are they really going to go to war with each other? Keeping it a buck, I haven't seen it. So if he actually does it, I'll be surprised that he does it. But he's, like I said, big, what is it? The big whites and the small whites. Trump may be just stupid enough or ignorant enough to go to war with them, to try to take those people and bring and lock those people up. Because that's when hell really going to break loose. Because remember, since 2016 to now, since Trump started talking about running for office, they've been coming at him. They've been throwing the justice system at him. Hey, yo, didn't they find him guilty for 135 felony convictions or something? They found him guilty for something. Yo, the boy's still not in prison. He still ain't get locked up. Like, I get convicted of one, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. Felony convictions, bro. They got 100 and something. What? Is it 100 and something or is it 35?
Either one. It's more than one.
But man, look. And he's not going nowhere. He's still out here. And after all these years, is Trump going to try to get some get back? I think he's just ignorant enough to try to lock all these people up. But these are the people that he's put in a position of power, that he's giving those platforms for them to go after his political enemies. All you got to do is watch this space. He ain't even come into office yet. January ain't even come yet. And if we're not getting ready in our communities, on how to survive, educating our children in the world that they live in, yo, man, we already lost. And that's what Carter G. Woodson was telling us, like, we going backwards. Like I said, this platform is here to find people that are interested in doing this work, doing the work in the community. Yo, we feed people every week. Yo, people are starving. Yo, we have somebody that comes and bring groceries that we go deliver to people. Families, hundreds of families, thousands of families. We've been feeding families since the since COVID. Since COVID, I'm talking about we go to homes and we deliver food. We're not rich. We don't get money from NGOs. Yo, these are people in the community. The food that we get to give out is from another community member that provides the food. Don't worry about where you get the food from. That's none of your business. Like, stop being nosy. Don't worry about all of that. But you got chicken, got eggs, got milk, got all kind of stuff inside, vegetables, fruits, everything. And we deliver this stuff to people's homes, and we let them know the Black Panther Party is here to serve them in any way we can. We have an after-school program where we're trying to re-educate our children that come out of them schools, out of them factories for social conditioning.
And guess how we feed them?
Guess how we feed them? We're not asking nobody. Yo, since I've been here, I've not asked anybody for a dime since we've been on here talking. Because the people, excuse me, the people who serve themselves, the people who take care of themselves. If you believe in the work we're doing, then we have no problem. Come in and donate, because you're the people. Come in and come work with us. Like, yo, sometimes I get food, the food come in, we get food. It's not enough of us to break the food down, package it, then go out to people's homes to go deliver it. Yo, we need more people. The more people we have, the stronger, the bigger we would be. Because, like, while I'm doing the food, or while we doing the food, we can do the, the after-school program. We can be at the school board council meeting, all these different places, putting our ideas out there to get people to join us. We can be over there helping somebody with housing. It ain't enough of us. There's a lot of work out here to be done. If you want to serve the people, there's a lot of work here to be done, and we need you. And in that work, you get to find yourself. You get to find the love for life, that mental health. Because it seems like it's impossible. Like, you can't do this. Like how? Like, you go to sleep stressing, you wake up stressing. How? You don't have to carry that burden. The Panthers are here to help you. We help each other. We do this together. That's how we've always done it. From the slave ships to landing on shore, the way we've survived and we've made it this far is we work together. We do this together. We educate our children. We can find our way. I mean, this is not impossible. That's why we're having these conversations. For you to come in. If more people come in and more people help do this work, we will, like, you have no idea. You can't even imagine how big this could get. But the vision is there. And all we're doing is following our ancestors, following what our ancestors have laid down for us to do. Just listen to them. I mean, and all these people like Tulsi Gabbard, Matt Gaetz, all of them, all these people, they're not going to do nothing to serve the people at all. They're not even going to serve white people, because most white people catching hell too. Even like some of you may not know it, may think like white people are out there like white people. Nah, it's a class thing. Remember, it's a class thing. They separate us. They have a few more perks and benefits, but they catching hell too. White people out there catching hell. I mean, I don't want to keep going because I don't want to take the secretary's time, because she about to come on. Did you do this or was it mine? Oh, this is mine, right? Let me go through it real quick. This is Bad Faith, with Brianna Joy Gray. Because I tell you, I consume all this stuff. I consume all this information. I try to get information from everywhere. And this is Chris Hedges. And I want you to hear Chris Hedges, because Hedges is going to be talking about the system, having faith in the system. Let me see if I brought it to the right place.
Comuníquese con las oficinas legales de Brandon J. Broderick, con un equipo de...
I'm back with Chris Hedges, who needs, of course, no introduction, noted journalist, commentator, and perhaps the person who holds kind of the most esteem, integrity, respect in terms of charting a course for the left and being a moral guidepost of sorts. I'm so happy to be able to unpack what is going on after the 2024 when
¿Ha tenido un accidente? Comuníquese con
Chris
las
Hedges
oficinas
is
legales
like
de Brandon J. Broderick.
we were supporting Bernie's reform as impossible.
Now, like Chris Hedges, I have disagreements with everybody, but like by and large, he hits it on the nail. Like his analysis is there. I mean, the problem with his analysis is the solution. And that's the problem. Like, if I saw him, if I was able to talk to him, I'm efforting to try to see if I could have a conversation with him. But if I could have a conversation with him, it would be about the solution that he offers. I mean, but I want you to listen to him, listen to what he said about this government.
A world, I'm not optimistic about this, but I certainly could imagine a world where instead of being so oppositional to Bernie Sanders, at least some Democrats in the interest of winning, like Coons, are saying, okay, fine, let's do Bernie-style politics. It's not going to be revolutionary, but it is going to be more than an incremental improvement on the norm.
The commercial coming on again. I got it.
Are you optimistic at all about what it means for establishment actors like Coons and the Pod Save America podcasters to have made what feels like a pretty significant admission after all of these years of resisting the Bernie theory?
No, because if they were serious about confronting corporate power or oligarchic power, they'd be destroyed. I never thought that the Democratic Party would allow Bernie Sanders to be the nominee.
You heard what he just said? If the Democrats, if they try to get on some Bernie wave, like that 2016, that Bernie talking about free Medicare for this, like moving the minimum wage up, doing all, if they try to come like that, he's saying they're going to destroy them. I mean, like, this is Chris Hedges. This is not Africa saying it. He used to work for the New York Times. He's been doing this for like 40 years. He's been a journalist for like 40 years. He has all these books out, and he's telling you, if they try to do anything for the people, they're going to destroy them. That's how the system works. So if you saying, you know what, we could elect people and put people in the system to be able to do this, do that, you jerking wreck, you're wasting your time instead of coming out here to do the work that's really needed on the ground. You jerking wreck. Right, I'm gonna let him finish his thought a little bit.
Because the Democratic Party is owned. And Lloyd Blankfein, the former CEO of Goldman Sachs, made it very clear that if he was the nominee, they would vote for Trump, and you'd end up with a 1972 situation where the Democratic Party and the donors walked out on George McGovern and threw their weight behind Nixon. No, it's not a reformable party. And if they were serious about confronting...
It's not a reformable party. I never thought I'd see the death of the Democratic Party. But as a historian, as a sociologist, from what I'm seeing, they're headed for death because the Democratic Party has made its bed. The Democratic Party work for the imperialists. They're on the side of the imperialists, the side of the rich. They're not on the side of the people, and they will lose elections before they get on the side of the people. They're not even thinking. Go ahead, Basil.
You're 100% right, because I asked myself, why wouldn't they have elected a person like Bernie? He was for all what the people wanted. And, I mean, to hear it stated this way makes a whole lot of sense. Where was Bernie at this time in the election? Okay? The same thing. They suppressed him. They suppressed him when Hillary was running. They probably would have suppressed him saying, oh, we need a woman now. I think it's, I mean, man, are you bringing this to forefront? This is so true.
No,
I'm really like, you know, listening to this, and I'm saying to myself, it makes 100% sense.
Yeah.
They don't care. As Michael Jackson, they really don't care about us.
They don't even care about winning. Like I used to just sit there. I'm like, you know, everybody hate Hillary Clinton. Nobody likes Kamala. Like, are you serious? Yo, I'm telling you, even if they went with Bernie, because Bernie could have just came out and lied and said, I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to challenge the deep state. I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to stop all the wars. He could have just came out and lied, and Bernie would have had a way better chance of winning because he would have took away those Trump voters. He would have took some Trump voters, and he would have brought back the Democratic Party. And I'm telling you, it would have been the energy of people that went out there to go vote for him to try to rectify what happened in 2020 and 2016. But they went with Kamala. They went with Kamala because they don't care about. It's not about winning to them. I mean, because like to them, in the next 4 years, the people are going to be so mad at Trump that they're going to let them back into office. See, that's what they believe. They believe, and they're right. Because that's how it usually happens. After 4 years, people tired. Like, man, I'm tired of this guy right here.
Hold on, Chairman. I don't even think it's going to go that smoothly because they're saying the Democrats are more right than the Republicans.
Yeah.
So, the Republicans going to win the next, 5, 10 elections because there's no difference between the two. And people are done with the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I see them dying. And I can't even believe I'm saying that. I can't even believe I'm saying I could see the Democratic Party die because I've always looked at the Republican Party as the fascist party. I used to think to myself, like, how can this Republican Party just keep winning? Like, how do they have people in office? Because I didn't know how inept and how corrupt the Democratic Party was. And they did it to themselves, and we can't look to these people to do anything for us anymore. We have to accept reality, accept the fact that we are all on the plantation, and we must work to get off this plantation. We must build underground railroads. I'm gonna leave y'all with this before the Secretary General comes. I always say this, but just imagine if all them people in Gaza, if they were just sitting there waiting for the world to pass a policy or to tell Israel to stop. If they just sat there and those leaders didn't build underground tunnels for them to be able to escape into, where would they be now? Everybody would be dead over there. You see, but the leaders over there had the foresight to understand these sociopaths are going to keep dropping rockets until we all die, because the land is what they want. They want this land. They will do anything to get this land. These people want our money, our resources. They will do anything to get these resources. And it's up to us. What are you going to do? What are we going to do? Are we going to fight back? Are we going to organize to fight back, or what? Hey, yo, I know Grunk was here. Is he still here? Because you're supposed to be... Yeah. Yeah, because, like, hey, Victor, you here, Victor?
I was going to go right into him anyway.
I don't know if Victor...
Hey, peace and blessings. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Victor. Hey, my bad, Vic. I know you've been here for the whole time, bro. Yo,
man, I've been enjoying it, man. Don't even knock it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Power to the people. No, the Secretary General about to come on real quick, so y'all could chop it up. Y'all could get to that spot. But thank you for coming through, man. And I'm gonna sit back and listen to y'all. You feel me?
All right, thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you for coming through, brother.
All power.
Greetings, comrade. Hey, Brother Enoch, we just want to go ahead and jump right into it. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Hey, peace and blessings, man. How y'all doing, man?
All right.
You know, as Chairman was speaking, man, I was reading up on some stuff. I saw that the city of Newark is putting they're doing like what is it? Let me see. Oh, I just lost it here. I apologize. Give me a second. You know, in regards to land, you know what I'm saying, when he was talking about they want land, they want power, right? And I noticed that the city of Newark...
Let the people know who you are. We have a special guest.
I'm sorry.
Special guest, Brother Enoch. Please introduce yourself.
Peace and blessings, everybody. My name is Brother Enoch. Long-time organizer, housing, gang prevention, environmental justice here in Essex County, North Irvington primarily. And it's a pleasure. Thank you for guys for having me on. You know, I hope we have a really cool in-depth discussion. And you know, I look forward to it. This is exciting. I mean, this is my second time having a chance to listen in on the show. And today it's just I was getting more in tune to it because I'm on today. So I was just like feeding into everything that was being said, and I was just like, oh my God. But real quick, just because I think it goes into the fold of our discussion, right? So I noticed that the city of Newark announced that they have a 2024 tax sale for delinquent 2023 prior year's delinquent taxes and other municipal charges. And they're going to put an online auction December 6, 2024, 8 a.m., right? And so, I was just doing a little background with what each looks. I'm a person, when I have no deep comprehension of certain things, I think this is important for anybody. Like, when you get into type organizing work, policy work, and stuff like that, always research definitions to things, man. Even if it's just specific words, you know what I'm saying? Specific words, like what means, you know what I'm saying? And I say that to say, like, as I was just kind of digging into what this particular thing means, I was like, okay, so the city's behind on some years of taxes with properties. It might not be the city itself. It might just be all these crazy tax abatements with these developers. It might just be property owners themselves. It might even be the housing authority not paying the bill. But it leads the city to the point of having to do this auction. But when I looked at what does that entail though, like and who can invest in things like that, right? And I just noted, I just thought to myself, well, you know what? The average Norker probably can't invest. And then what I mean by that is if you don't have like an LLC, if you don't have like an entity backing you, if you don't even have the right type of money, you can't even jump into this kind of auction, right? And this auction is not necessarily saying I'm going to jump into this and I'm going to own parts of Nork, right? But you do have a stake of claim and investment, right? And what I mean by that is like, yeah, you know, you'll jump into this auction, you pay a couple hundred, couple thousand, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, just to have, I guess, a claim to whatever properties that are on the lien or whatever, whatnot, and then the city or whoever has to pay off that, and that's where you get your money back plus the investment based on whatever rate, you know, what they call that, when you invest in something.
Rate of return, I believe.
ROI. Yeah, the rate of return back, right?
Wait, slow down. Quick question. So this, you can claim the property, but you won't own the property?
Yeah, because this necessarily is that you'll have a claim over something, so you'll have some type of legal say-so of what can happen or what goes down, but you ain't going to own it. So it's not necessarily like, oh, I could demolish, develop, or I could do whatever I want on this, because you didn't necessarily buy the property. You just bought the tax delinquency, I guess I could say, in that sense. So you pay, and this happens on other things aside from city properties and stuff. Like the investors are into things like that, right? I'm still a noob, you know what I'm saying, when it comes into investments, but I have some type of idea based on me just kind of like messing around and playing the risky business of investments to have an understanding of what that is. And when I think about on the very minuscule level of what I learned from my experience with investments, I envision it on a larger scale. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, so you know, there are people who invest in paying for the back taxes of things because they rather sit on the paper, the deed of certain things, and wait till whoever owns these properties pay these things off, and then they actually bank on the investment of it because the kickback, you know what I'm saying, because of the rate of investment that you get back from it. But at the same time, if the person doesn't pay, you know what I'm saying, that's where things kind of change up, right? Because now you could, as a person who owns this particular document, certain amount of time passes. If they didn't commit to their part, now you push forward and opt into like, oh, well, you know what, I got this property, I want to do something with it. You know what I'm saying? I want to put more into, I want to put whatever to kind of acquire the property as mine, right? And you could do this similar aspect. You could do this with properties of homes, right? Foreclosure homes specifically, especially bank-owned foreclosed homes that are just with back tax, you know, especially senior folks that probably died or families that couldn't keep up with paying the mortgage and they fell behind and they lost the home and now it's just sitting there abandoned. And you got folks that might come about and be like, you know what, I can't pay $600 and something thousand for the property, but I can pay the back tax. And paying the back tax now gives me that right to, you know, take control of the property.
How would this look? How can this be used as an organizing effort in a vehicle of cooperative economics?
All right. So when you're thinking about it in that aspect, I guess it kind of goes back to earlier on when the brother was. You know, when I kind of mentioned about the comments about how we invest within our communities, right? Mm-hmm. For instance, imagine the Panther Party. If the Panther Party, like, you know, you guys do the food program, right? The food program comes through connections of resources, but also comes from money that comes through the Panthers movement that goes into making sure that you guys acquire the food, that you guys can do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? To give back to the community. Now, let's just say if funding was to come in and you guys choose to divert your investments and start putting money into savings and say, hey, listen, the collective wants to start looking at foreclosed properties. And we want to start working with families, working families, families that we know have struggled but are now coming up and want to have an opportunity to own a home, but maybe just don't fit the qualifications and eligibilities, right? That these other programs like NACA and like these other things that you got to go through just to get the first time home buyership type of thing, you know, all the red tape that they put in your way. Imagine going through the Panther program and acquiring a house that was foreclosed that you guys paid the back tax to acquire, and then you guys go through the whole process of renovation utilizing, I don't know, maybe HUD funds and stuff like that. The idea is collective investment. How does, they say, a collective of like 50 members organize itself to start saving funds or putting funds, they say membership fees, and putting those membership fees towards, let's say, you want a building, right? You got to start somewhere. So starting somewhere would be where the Panthers could acquire a property first and show, based on that example, that yes, we can do it as a community. Here's what the Panthers did. And then the Panthers can move forward with that as a program, assessing properties, not just in Newark, but anywhere, because foreclosed properties are all around. And some of them sit there for forever. I mean, shit, I've done door-to-dooring and canvassings in areas like Verona and West Caldwell, where some of these big giant houses are abandoned. And a lot of those houses is because families no longer were connecting to the homeowners. Homeowners passed away, and those houses eventually fall apart, fall behind, or maybe the banks took over and whatnot. And then the banks are not necessarily, they want to sell, but they're going to sell as is. They're not going to put all the money in to fix and hook up, whatnot. They leave that that's money for them. So they rather do that with whoever's going to put the money into buying the property. You know what I'm saying? So I say all of that to say that, you know, it's a weird fine line trying not to participate in capitalism, but yet we live here and we want to survive in this system, and we want to survive in this country and have a sustainable, balanced life in our society. Is kind of difficult, right? So we got to play the game in certain ways. Thus, having trust in certain institutions is an important thing, because here's the thing about capitalism, what I kind of find interesting, that kind of fit towards a lot of aspects. Contracts, word for word, everything. If you sit there and read an entire contract, it tells you rights and wrongs. It tells you what you could do, what they got to do, what's their responsibilities, what's yours, right? I would say at least 8 out of 10 people don't read contracts. Yeah. They don't read the fine line.
I wanna go back to the point you made about us living in capitalism and how we have to navigate. And this is just reiterating what the chairman said. Like, yes, we all live on the plantation, but we need to organize the people to build that underground railroad.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, something like what you just explained to us about tax lien and property, yes, we can organize around through that to create a community building or housing for the people. So we're not totally against using government institutions to provide for the people. What we're saying is that we're not looking to government, because they're never going to come to the people and be like, we're here, we're going to help you. They're never going to do that. So us as activists, as vanguards, like you with the Water Coalition, you provide water to the community. The government not even going to tell you that you got dirty water. Yeah, we use that water every day for the kids, for our houses, and he's going to share with you where his bases are and how you can get the water. But yeah, so yes, we all agree we live on a plantation, but we need to find ways to create institutions within that, build that underground railroad, and I totally would definitely like to work with you on more about the tax lien properties and things of that nature. But yes,
to be real with you, it's something that I've read into a lot this year. I'm still kind of learning more about what does this entail and how could we use this as a way of trying. And mind you, it's you know, I'm pretty sure proper research nationwide. I'm pretty sure there's other organizing efforts that have been utilizing these forms of programs to kind of gain ownership of land and property, of buildings and stuff like that. It's just a matter of sitting down and doing the work and actually researching and finding these things or connecting with these organizations, grassroots groups out there in the U.S. or even in other countries, you know what I'm saying, that have worked on these things so that we can have an idea and we can know. Because you understand, we don't play those games. We don't know how to mess with that type of control system. We got to sit with folks that have, and we got to understand what that means, and we got to pick those brains, right, and know how we could put that into perspective for us and create a strategy that works for us. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's still something I'm in the midst of learning myself. And it was just today, after listening to the chairman, I was just like, saw the post, and I was like, oh, let me look in more into this. And while I'm listening to him, I'm reading up all this stuff, and I'm just like, but they're giving out 30-year tax abatements to all these new developers, and they're doing all these things, but yet we're supposed to be progressing. We're supposed to be coming out of this 20-year debt thing, 30-year debt thing with the city. And again, this is not to say that the city is what's behind in taxes, is because that messaging in the post is not necessarily transparent in that sense, but I'm just going to assume it like that as an organizer, and the way money has been played around with in the city, I'm just going to have to be real. Maybe they just didn't pay the bills, you know what I'm saying?
And but I don't know, it may have something to do with, because I know we owed Essex County $20 million for our tax assessment property value thing, because apparently we're not assessing our property at the value because we're giving them out for $2 per square feet when the property costs like $1 million. So that's another tax burden we have.
I'm glad you bring that up, because at the same rate as we're doing that, when we're looking at the focus of affordable housing, right, the context of affordable housing, what it looks like, what matter of fact, not what it looks like, what it is that they're utilizing the AMIs of the county versus not using AMIs of the actual local neighborhoods. And thus it looks like they're selling these properties at some really deep, cheap, you know what I'm saying, rates. And then they're trying to, in hopes that they could actually flip, you know what I'm saying, based on the renters coming in to pay that, to kind of really get that money back. But honestly, it's like, that whole affordable, I could go
it's not
heavy
affordable.
On that affordable. Yeah, I could go heavy on that
and they
affordable
know
thing.
It's not affordable.
Yeah, it is.
And there's so much with that because, and like I mentioned earlier about the Section 8, landlords aren't taking Section 8. They're not taking TRAs. And if they do take it, the rent is so high that even the Section 8 coverage, you still can't afford your part of the rent. Like, it's so much that goes into this housing crisis that the local politicians, leaders are ignoring and keep coming up with these affordable housing, and they know that it's not helping anybody. But another thing I want to get into is this recent news about apparently Trump coming after nonprofits, taking away tax-exempt status and whatnot. They put it under the guise of those nonprofits that spew terroristic threats or misinformation. But basically, they're coming after, I believe, activists and, revolutionaries and things of that sort. Do you have any thoughts on that? Are you aware of that? Is there, any comments about that?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just got a text at the same time. Repeat that last few words.
So apparently Trump is coming after nonprofits or organizations.
Okay, yeah. So the nonprofit killer bill, I think I heard recently. One of the biggest counters to Trump's administration, his first go around, came from the civic level, civic sector, let's just say, where a lot of what Trump wanted to do and get out the way was countered by the organizing efforts on the civic level. So I could see, him coming into office now. He's just trying to cut the fat before he starts. You know what I'm saying? So that way he doesn't have as much opposition as he did then. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. I mean, not just Trump going in office, but we have a whole Republicans taking over the House and everything like that. So it's like he's going to have a lot of support. But at the same time, I also feel like he's going to have I don't like to say it because I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I'm going to just say that the way Trump is moving right now compared to his first flow, you see something very different going on in regards to how he's one putting out his messaging, right? Even though he's talking shit, but what is the things he's focusing on? Two is the people he's putting into place, right? Regardless of looking at folks like Gates and stuff, which thank God he stepped down, but he putting specific people in office, especially a lot more women, which is something that a lot of people, especially homeowners who I've spoken to recently after the elections, are significantly afraid of, that he's going to just take away women's rights all around, and it's going to leave women vulnerable and no longer having jobs and in the house type of thing. They thinking that he's going to take things back to the 40s and stuff like that. But I say all that to say that, strategically, this man is doing something different that is bringing certain people to the forefront that we would have never expect take office, especially like folks like Elon Musk and stuff like that, right? When we see that he's pushing for this particular nonprofit killer bill, right? To me, it's like, it looks like he's trying to, it looks like he really wants to put a stop to funding for organizations like that, grassroots nonprofit organizations like that. And it could be because he's trying to stop government funding, not necessarily public and stuff like that, but government funding, because he probably wants to focus on that type of funding going elsewhere. And again, just playing devil advocate, not trying to say I know what his strategy is, and not trying to say that he's an idiot and whatnot, but I'm just going to say, like, listen, man, this is a guy that deliberately caused certain businesses to go under so that he can go bankrupt and get the type of money he needs so that he can go turn and build up other industries and other buildings and properties and stuff like that. So he's a dude that's really savvy when it comes to certain things, playing with capitalism. And if he's trying to do away with nonprofits, he probably got another angle. And again, I'm not trying to say that I support the guy, whatever, but it's something to look into in regards of if that was to actually pass. Let's just say that hypothetical. If that was to actually happen, then what?
Exactly. Then what? What do these? What happens? Do the nonprofits stop doing boots on the ground organizing because they don't have the funds, or do they find? Because again, this will show who's really here for the people and who's not. Because honestly, as Black Panther Party, like, we do a lot of this stuff for free. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see how these nonprofits and all these organizing groups move forward.
Let's just keep it, and let me just be real. Let me be frank. A lot of the people that are up in arms are our nonprofits that are within our communities because they're afraid of jobs lost, whatnot. And they have a right so. But there's been a lot of And I have to say, like, there's a lot of white-owned institutions that are nonprofits that have been nonprofit status for over 150 years, gets buku amount of money and does absolutely nothing, sit in affluent neighborhoods, own bunch of properties, and honestly, these entities may be heavy influential amongst other industries that may be countering some of the things and plans that he has set forth. It may not even be the nonprofits that are mainly focused within our communities. Let's be frank. Let's keep it G. Media likes to, I'm glad the chairman was showing these the way the media likes to sway things, right? Because, I mean, let's keep it G. Here's a funny thing I joke about. Every time Trump does a little campaign promotion with McDonald's, media likes to throw out that there's some type of E. coli outbreak with the meats in McDonald's. There's some in the Midwest, in the South, or throughout the country. And I'm just like, well, damn, thousands and tens of thousands of people, millions maybe, go into these damn McDonald's up here in the tri-states. They don't suffer from none of that. But yet, the media is pumping this stuff out there. Every single time this man has something to do promoting McDonald's. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I use that as an example because it bugs me out how the media tries to sway us into feeling like we're on our edge and our backs are against the wall, and then this big white man who's a billionaire, you know what I'm saying, he doesn't care about us and da-da-da-da-da, but yeah, he's straight going into one of the largest fast food chains in the country, in the world, and he's often buying up food all the time. That's his dinner source, right? But yet, during the campaign, during the elections times, where was he at? You know, when we talk about New York and stuff like that, where was he at? He was right in the hood. He was right there talking to people, business owners, and what's it going to affect them about what's happening right now under the Biden administration. But what do you see happening on the media? The media is just kicking dirt on him, talking this, that, and the third, playing that fear-mongering role. You know what I'm saying? And that stuff right there is the witch's wand. You know what I'm saying? It's what keeps us blinded in the smoke and mirrors, right? Because we see this white man who all of us are already at odds about, right? Because there's another white man in office, another rich man in office dictating to us what's right and good for us as a people who are struggling and poor and poverty and whatever, whatnot, right? Yeah, it's the same old scenario over the past 400 or 500 years. Yeah, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And they have the media has no problem with the only persons of color they want to pump out there. They want to just throw some hip-hop artists and stuff like that to have us kind of like, you know, gravitate towards them and talk about, oh, they're for us. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Because they twerk just like us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like, hold up. You know, what about the facts? What about the minute things? When I was growing up, born and raised in North, I had the luxury of going to private school through my grammar school time, right? Went to St. Michael's School here in North throughout my grammar school time. But I also had a high school in Eastside High School in the Ironbound, messed around in Barringer for a bit, whatever, whatnot. I had the opportunity to be pushed by my teachers to look beyond what I'm reading. Do my research about words. You know, I used to love spelling bees, but in order to be the man at spelling bees, I had to know what words I was talking about. So I had to do my definitions. I was big on poetry, so I was big on reading the dictionary too. You know what I'm saying? So I say all of that to say that I had to look at the individual words in something to have an understanding of what a message is being said. The Bible. I was in the Catholic Church. And the chairman mentions he's a Christian, so I know he knows the Bible. You read the Bible.
Was a Christian.
No, that's what I'm saying. Was a Christian. I'm sorry. Was a Christian, but he you know what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure he was deep into the studies of the book. You know what I'm saying. And does he, you know what I'm saying, you're not going to take the book for what it's telling you. You got to understand the message. But in order to understand the message, you got to dissect that, right? Growing up, these things were important to us, to have a greater context of things. Today, we don't see that. People are impulsive, emotional, jumping the gun as soon as they hear a message about something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, the label terms of black, brown, and white has just become so much more of a separatist tool than it is about unity. You know what I'm saying? I can't talk about black and brown as much as I could before because I feel like I'm separating the rest of humanity. You know what I'm saying? I'm for the people. I'm for everybody. Therefore, I have to know and understand that if I'm for everybody, I can't just be specific to just two colors.
And that's why it's important that we attack or talk about, discuss the class struggle, because that is what is the real problem here. It's not so much as yes, we have racism, yes, we have to deal with that, but the main thing is if we're dealing with those that have the means of production and us that do not, and they are the ones oppressing us. They are in the higher class, and we're the lower class oppressed. And that's how we need to attack these issues and look from it as a class. It's a class war. Like the white poor man is no better off than the black poor man. They all fighting against the same system.
It's the same thing. It's all based on your net worth, I guess. You know what I'm saying? In many ways, and I'm glad you put it in that way. The poor white man is facing the same struggles as we as a people are today. You know what I'm saying? There's no difference just because they're a lighter skin than us. They're facing, we joke about trailer parks. How different is that from public housing? Just because it's on wheels? I mean, they're allocated in some of the most environmentally.
So we can talk for hours, but I don't want to lose the audience, and I'm not even going to finish off the show because I had to get into how our leaders are selected and not elected. But the chairman went over that a little bit. But I do want to close the show off with you, Victor. And I have one more question because I know you're boots on the ground like we are. You communicate with the people. You're around the people, just like the good doctors say. Those that leading the people need to be with the people, need to eat with the people, survive with the people, die with the people. And since you are doing all those things, what are these people saying after the election? What are their feelings? What are their thoughts?
You get a lot of people that are expressing, and this comes from both homeowners and renters. Renters are more afraid of losing benefits like welfare and Social Security. Homeowners are more afraid on the level of security. And security meaning like, as far as not just with the migrant stuff, security in the aspect of even more policing in their communities, right? There seems to be more violence building up in other areas. And of course, like, listen, our neighborhoods are becoming congested. And what happens when so much starts to fizzle in one area starts to fizzle out in other areas, right? So security becomes a major issue to them, and property tax, right? I've talked to several women homeowners who've expressed, of course, like the women's rights, the stress that this administration coming in is going to do everything they can to cut away from, anything that protects women's rights, anything that has to do with what women can do with their own bodies and stuff like that. I've had conversations about Roe v. Wade with some homeowners who feel like, that it was beneficial to members in their family. It was beneficial to folks in the nation, and how since it's been gone, they've noticed an increase of like suicides and the increase of, like children being, put up into the adoption system and whatnot. It's like it was things like that. But what you're also hearing is environmental issues. Trump doesn't care much about environmental issues. His first term, he came in and he tried to dismantle everything that has to do with the Environmental Protection Agency. He also tried to dismantle everything that had to do with like the CARES Act and stuff with health. You know what I'm saying? But I think this particular time around, which I had this again, a devil's advocate. I've had this interesting thing that I bring up to people about healthcare in this particular term. I'm like, hey, you know, one person who I was kind of disappointed at kind of stepped down on his run for presidency was RFK. RFK was running on the independent ticket, but once he stepped down, he decided to support Trump, which was a crazy surprise at so many levels. He didn't seem like he was a supporter of Trump early on, but being that he did, you know, Trump's view is that he's going to put him the head of, you know, dealing with healthcare and stuff like that. And RFK has interesting points when it comes to healthcare and what he wants to do and how he wants to cut back on pharmaceutical, you know, pricing, like how these pharmacy, you know, these medical, these pharmaceutical companies, there you go, overcharging for certain treatments and medicines and stuff like that, how he wants to really put it to them and really cut back on how, you know, patients and stuff are paying for that and to kind of help with strengthening benefits and stuff like that. I think that's interesting to put him in that place, and I want to see, I don't want to judge him. I don't want to judge him from the rip. I want to see in the first year what this man can do, and particularly when it comes to healthcare. So I say all of that to say, you know, folks on the grounds are feeling on edge. I've talked to supporters. I've talked to people who oppose. Some people want their head under the sand for the next 4 years. Some folks don't want to communicate with people. What's interesting, I think you realize this, even since Trump's first term to now, there's been a huge rift within families, within communities, because of people's choices on who they want to be supporting of. We're in America, man. You know, whoever's going to be in office, whether it's Trump or some other cat, you know, that person is not going to be fit for everybody. And the idea is to give 4 years to this person to see what they got. Trump's first 4 years, obviously, we saw what we got. These next 4 years are going to be quite trying. It's a little scary, but at the same time, for all the people that he's putting into position, I mean, hey, they're 10 times better than the people he put in position the first time. So I want to see what that turns out to be. Again, it's not in support of this guy. Support certain people that he put in position to see those folks could actually bring into fruition in the country with protecting our rights and bringing something that benefits American people. And again, I'm born here on this day. This is Lenape land. This is Turtle Island. You know what I'm saying? I'm for what comes from our country and what benefits our country. We need to stop supporting other countries' products and stuff that come in. We need to start supporting more of what we got going on. We need to build. We need to manufacture. We need to make things at home. And we need to be able to start supporting more of things that are local. You know, you got a business, I need to be supporting you. I got a business, you need to be supporting me more. And we need to kind of kill that culture of chasing these, you know, these brands of Nike and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And spending buku amount of money on those products. Start supporting each other. Because we want to thrive in our communities, but in order to do so, we have to believe in our communities and start supporting and investing in our communities.
And most importantly, start supporting organizations like the North Water Coalition and the New African Black Panther Party. I'm going to open the floor to the audience. Do you have any questions for Brother Enoch or me, or any comments about the show or feedback? Please unmute yourself and feel free. Anybody?
It's all right. All right. It's all right. You have to email me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
so
always a great program. A lot of information. I'm so glad you guys are going over that book. I mean, I'm just learning every time I tune into this wonderful program, I'm always learning something, and you guys really do an exemplary job. And keep on, as they say in the words of, I forgot his name, keep on pushing.
So, Brother Enoch, please, again, share the information about the North Water Coalition, how people can reach out to you, how people can support you. Please share.
Oh, well, thank you. You know, I definitely want to shout out the North Water Coalition, Anthony Diaz and the great organizers out of the coalition doing some great work. Please come by, check out the office at 373 South Orange Avenue. The North Water Coalition, if I'm not mistaken, the office hours are still Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, Thursdays being their late days. They open from 10 a.m. to about 5. Fridays, around 1 o'clock, they do a food distribution there at 373 South Orange Ave. Over at 7 Wilson Avenue at St. Stephen's Church, the Water Coalition hosts a weekly food distribution, which is much more larger. That one usually starts around roughly 11, 12 o'clock. So we ask folks to get there as early as possible. That one, you know, for folks that just need water, bring as much as you need as far as gallons. They fill up 5 gallons, 1 gallon, half a gallon, a cup. You need a cup of water, you can definitely come to the Water Coalition's office and pick up some water. There's also some secondhand clothing that is clean, of course. You guys can check out if you're in need of any clothing. Please share with folks that are coming from other countries that may be in need of certain resources. The Water Coalition is also spearheading a lead remediation program for homeowners throughout the city of Newark. They're looking to do about, I believe, 150 properties to do remediations for lead in the homes. So definitely tap into that. There's a small intake process, and if you're eligible, they could put up to, I think, $13,000 into investing into, you know, fixing it, whether you have old lead paint or if you have old, you know, lead in the pipes, stuff like that. They could go ahead and fix all that up, and to give you a quick education piece there as well. I also want to shout out Homes for All. Homes for All Newark has been around for several years, fighting against a lot of the gentrification and overdevelopment coming into the city. We have been fighting strongly at preserving public housing as well as saving our communities from ending up displaced or homeless. Eviction prevention is one of our main focuses. We're working with folks out of Seton Hall and CoLab, with lawyers, and we're partnering up with Clinton Hill, you know, with folks doing things there, and NCS out of the city of Newark, who's also providing much eviction prevention, and they also have an education piece where they'll kind of help you understand the eviction process and know what's the rights and wrongs and what's the legal form of eviction process versus what's the illegal form, because you have a lot of landlords who are participating in the illegal action. Oh my
God, Victor, I need to dedicate a show just on eviction with you and run it down for the public. Oh my God, yes.
Well, all on housing, that definitely needs to be a powerful segment. I'm definitely open for that. Know your rights sessions, lease talks, you know, whatever, things like that. If you got a whole handful of residents that are just riddled with conditions or riddled with issues with their landlords or whatever, we could have a whole session focused on the housing. You know, I have a vision of really aiming towards a real, true housing summit run by grassroots and community advocates who are on the front lines dealing with housing. And not the other way around, you know what I'm saying, not government running it, you know what I'm saying, but us in the grounds to really start doing some real strategic trainings with community to kind of gear them up and prepare, because the development is going to continue, sadly.
You hear me? Can you hear me?
That's the chairman.
Yeah, brother.
No, this is not the chairman. This is the voice from above. Hey, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yo, we thinking about a rent strike.
You want to know what's funny? Somebody mentioned that to me in a post recently, and I said, listen, I'm all for it. I think a real rent strike. And you know what? I'm going to send you information. Inquilinos Unidos out of Minneapolis. That's a nonprofit organization out there. Ran a very successful rent strike with a bunch of properties. I'm talking about over 100 and something tenants against one landlord. But it's eerily similar because there was a private developer that bought up over 20-something apartment buildings in the city of Newark. And we still don't know who it is.
There's one property owner that owns like 22 properties in Newark.
We still don't know who this particular owner is. So
I've been searching hard.
Organizing renters in all of those properties would be such a powerful move. And teaming those with NHA properties and with properties like Garden Spire, with the Spires and other places like that.
Boy, so we got a lot of work to do, brother.
It is a lot of work, but it's possible if we have the right kind of people really putting the message out there, really organizing that, and not allowing these political figures or people who work for these political people to sway them away from the organizing efforts. Because you got to understand it. Bro, let me put it like this, man. There's people working for this mayor that are facing evictions.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
helping employees that work for the city. I'm helping their families not face eviction because they work for the city. They can't even help their own families.
But and why not? You want to know why not? It's because paycheck is much more important than the survival.
Not only that, they don't get paid enough.
But that's the thing too, right? And and we could get into that. Now I know we didn't get into the main question about. I know we didn't get into the main question about the funding and stuff like that, but let me just put it into this aspect. That money is drying up.
Yes.
I do not.
Wait 1 second, people. He's talking about the COVID money that was distributed to all these nonprofits that is connected to the city.
Yeah. There's first and foremost corruption, man. Fraud and corruption, man. Fraud and corruption, man. Listen, I don't have the facts in front of me right now, but let me tell you, man.
We're gonna get into too.
Time will tell, and we'll show it off. And let me tell you, there's going to be some people going to jail in the next coming years. You know what I'm saying? Because funding had been tapped into, funding had been misused. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shit, look at the shit with the public education. Look at them. Look at them taking, spending millions of dollars on these trips, business trips, and going play. So money is being just mismanaged on every aspect of anything that deals with city. You know what I'm saying? And that just says a lot, man. If we were from the streets, and the money is being played with, man, we're gonna see things for what it is. We're gonna look at it. We're gonna put our thoughts together, and we're gonna be like, somebody got their hand in the pot. Somebody's doing some shit, and that's exactly what's happening on the nonprofit end. That funding is drying up. It may have something to do with the Trump administration coming in, especially with the state almost going on the flip flop with the red. But it also, being honest with y'all, it also may be something that has to do with Ross running for governor, because there are some parties that are going to try to topple, that are going to try to pull the rug from under him. And this is not in support of Ross, but they're going to try to hurt us.
He made it easy, though. Ross made it so easy for them.
Yeah, in many ways, yeah. But at the same time, let's keep it real. The county has always ran north. You know what I'm saying? The county, whatever he did, he tried to really Bogart and try to really take control of things. Hey, more power to him on whatever that is. But truth be told, you want to run for such a big office. You want to put his people in specific places.
And he started with his girl LaMonica, but she's not going to be of too much help because they're about to run her out of there.
Even if they don't run her out of there, in order for her to protect her position, She gonna choose sides real quick. because she's going to have a powerful position. If Ross loses in this run, she's going to have a very powerful position. That's just the reality. You play with powers right there. You get what I'm saying? And on a county and state level, there are a lot of people that don't rock with Brother Ross, man. And it's hey, man, it's classist thing. It's a racist thing, but it's also people feeling oppressed. It's also people feeling like they've been undermined. People listening to a whole bunch of other stuff going on, rhetoric. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of that stuff. But it's not just that, because within the local political powers, they look like they're united, but there's some severe disunity building up and brewing, especially between the Latinos and black leaders in this political leaders in this city.
Bro, you're touching on too many subjects. We got to go.
Man, it gotta be said. People, you know what?
Yes, hold up.
I throw all that stuff in there for you guys to have awareness, and then you guys can go out there and just connect the dots. Connect those dots for yourselves. I'm not dictating nothing. Connect the dots for yourselves and see it for what it is. I'm just doing groundwork. I'm just listening to the people. I'm just listening to homeowners. I'm just sitting with specific people that sit in these specific offices, and they talk.
1 second.
Hold on, Basil. Go ahead, Basil.
Do we have more time on the clock, Mr. Nance, or no?
No, we have more time. It's just that we do have more time. I have till 3 o'clock. It's just that we have to kind of end because we got things to do.
Okay.
But yes, we're definitely gonna have Brother Enoch on. We're gonna have more shows where we discuss all those different topics. But yes, if the audience got something to say, please join in.
Patience, I wanted to ask Brother Victor one question.
Yes, please.
I heard you chime in behind what he said. Victor, I want to understand this, and Patience, that there are people that work under the Baraka administration right now that are currently, because they're not making enough on a particular job in City Hall or anything that's city related, that are facing eviction. Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. And it works two ways with that too, right? Maybe when they got into the position, they were able to survive for the time, but as COVID hit and monies became different, you know what I'm saying? A lot of folks fell behind on so many levels.
Everything went up, but nobody wages went up.
Yeah.
Nobody wages.
Well,
that wage. Go ahead,
Let
brother.
me say this real quick, brother. Eric Adams, who happens to be a friend of mine, he was telling me that he got chumped out of some of his money down there, the financial advisor down there, and they gave him a different position down there, a different title, and that going forward, he said that that the administration had owed him some money because when Booker was in office, they had a deficit, but they had a surplus under the Baraka administration, you know. So there's a lot of nefarious stuff that's going on with this administration, brother, but I don't want to hold up because somebody else might want to say something, but we got to bring this brother back because it's very pertinent. And I was down at City Council chambers just to see what was going on at not their last meeting, but meeting before last, okay? And Donna Jackson was there, and she was telling me about how the mayor already has built a hotel in Ghana, and now he's invested in tourism in Ghana, which means that he's expanded, I guess, with his economic base or his money. He has more property out there in Ghana. And then anybody who knows Donna Jackson knows she's a wealth of information, and she'll speak her mind. I've been knowing Donna Jackson's family for a very long time. So with that being said, Victor, I salute you, brother, and keep on giving us that knowledge, brother, because this is what we need.
Hey, thank you, brother.
Talking radio. Thank you.
I appreciate you. All
for
power,
bringing
man.
this brother on, because I'm gonna meet this brother down the road.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you too. And yeah, Donna's she's like an auntie for me, you know what I'm saying? And she actually shared something like that too, but she wasn't the only one that highlighted that particular thing. There has been a lot of connection with Nork in Ghana, a lot of things going on in the back end that maybe we're not seeing a lot. Even though we got social media, we're not really seeing a lot of that, right? And it's something very important to dissect and see, because truth be told, international banks, money holding is tremendously different. than national banks, than banks that the government controls. So a lot of funding has been missing on many areas. I'll just put it like that. A lot of funding has been missing on many areas. And I'm pretty sure land in Ghana is not as expensive as land in New Jersey. Let me just put it like that.
Thank you so much for that. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Brother Enoch.
Thank you. I appreciate this.
People, we're going to have more shows with Brother Enoch because we got so many things to tackle, especially here in the city of Newark. But also, I want to let the audience know, I'll get to you in a second, brother. I want the audience to know, if you have any news to share, any information to share, this is the space. Again, this is All Power to the People podcast. This is your podcast. Go ahead, Brother Enoch.
No, I just wanted to share November 30th. Hold on, I just want to pull it up real quick. Oh, yeah, so November 30th, we'll be going throughout the city of Newark, giving out book bags and stuff to homeless community. The book bags will be full of, toiletries and things to kind of keep them warm. Hopefully some little snacks and stuff like that to hold them through. So kind of putting that out there. That's through the Essex County United Council. Also, we want folks to keep an eye on these developments coming in. So, Iberia's is located on Ferry Street. It's a large development. They're trying to build a monstrosity in the Ironbound. It's already heavily congested. So I want folks to kind of have that in their radar. Also, if you're living over by the north or know people that lives over in the North Ward, there's another large development, corporate development that they're trying to build over there. That is another large monstrosity across the street from Branchwood Park on Lake Street and Bloomfield Ave. We want folks to kind of have an eye on that. Homes for All is working diligently to try to protect residents and keep certain developments from coming up. We're not against development. What we promote is responsible development, and that community is involved. And that whenever you guys hear from these developers that a CBA is being proposed, a CBA is a community benefits agreement, then you better make sure you're there and you're present to make your voices be heard, because CBA comes with money and benefits.
And don't let them fool you talking about they want a sign for Newark. That is not a CBA. We don't need a sign.
Yeah. Thank you. Like that one over there. Was that the North? Oh my God, was that over by James Street? Over by James Street.
They're gonna give us a sign.
Yeah, a little digital sign. Like, who making money off of that? $150 ads or something like that. But anyway, it's true. A community benefits is exactly what it sounds. What benefits your community? And that's the agreement that has to come from a new developer coming into your neighborhood to build up something or renovate an old building into something luxury. If they want to do that and they don't want to really provide a really good affordable units, or they can still do the little 20% inclusionary, which is, you know what I'm saying? But community benefits agreement or something that benefits the people. And the community benefits agreement is, I'll give you an example. If a property has a park on the top of a open community space like the Haynes building on the upstairs of the roof, or the inside the atrium where folks can sit down and drink their coffee and get on a computer and whatnot, a community benefits is the allowance that the community can benefit from this space that is in our community now.
That
and
means
that is
it's
not
public access free. We shouldn't have to pay to go there. Like, we shouldn't have to pay to go to the Trek Center because you got, what's his name? The KRS-One Temple of Hip Hop doing nothing in there. But we want to rent out the gym. You want to charge us buku money. Like, stop it. No.
That's another thing, too. If you hear city, any one of your councilmen, try to propose a community benefits agreement where they're going to put funding back into the schools of recreation. Listen, and I hear what you're probably going to say, but more funding to the schools, more funding to recreation, they could do more. Fuck that. Get your head out your asses. They get millions of dollars.
Yes.
They want to go misspend it on millions of dollars on business trips. They want to misspend it while feeding your kids garbage. That's not your problem. Community benefits is what's going to benefit us directly, okay? So know and understand, keep an eye out on these things, know the language, listen to these messages. And the Haynes building, you're backtracking on your community benefits agreement, man.
I didn't know that. What's their community benefit? Because it's like hard to get a room in that building.
That's one of those things. And that's one of those things. The fact that they took out all the sockets for people to charge their phones and sit down. The fact that now you got to pay a certain amount in the store just to sit down and be comfortable when all of that was open for us to use because it was just there. The upstairs, you can't sit there and utilize their Wi-Fi over an hour, or else not the security gonna come kick you out. That's when these companies are trying to privatize a location. Do not allow them to back out of that community benefits agreement. They're supposed to benefit us, not them. And if they're paying the bill because people are overusing electric sockets, that ain't our problem. You should have never came to our city and built some shit up. That's just the bottom line.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? Period. So yeah, that's all I have to say on that end.
And on that note, unless anybody got anything else to say, see you next Sunday, every Sunday at 12 p.m. on All Power to the People podcast on Grown Folks Talking Internet Radio. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you so much. This was an awesome show, and you've even made it even better.
I hope. Bless y'all.
All power to the people.
All power to the